Arise, Ghana youth, for your country. The nation demands your devotion. This is some of the sounds we're hearing on the streets of Accra yesterday. But good morning and welcome to the AM show. My name is Sweetie Abochi. And for this morning, we'll start with the news, of course, bringing you all the details that matter to you. And then we'll get into the news review. Dr. Kwame Asasante, political scientist and head of European studies at the University of Ghana, will be joining us to get into the various stories captured in the newspapers. And then Muftana Bila Abdullahi will bring you AM Sports, all the latest updates in the world of sports. And then our big stories. Now, first on our list this morning, we'll take a look at the recent Bank of Ghana's 2023 annual financial statement, which confirmed that 11 licensed fintech companies provided inward remittances services to customers. Now, the total value of remittances received in 2023 was 57 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to $5 billion, compared to the $18 billion or 18 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent of $3 billion in 2022. Is Ghana feeling the impact of these remittances? And are there any challenges in the tracking of same to ensure the economy is actually benefiting? Also, we're asking what's next after the Minority Caucus led by Okudzeto Ablakwa and Organized Labour presented a 15-point petition to the Jubilee House yesterday demanding an immediate halt to the sale of 60% stake of 4 plush hotels owned to SNIT. All that and more coming up later on the show. And then we'll also take you to the Upper West region where there's an easy calm and fear among residents following an alleged killing of 2 9 security men in the municipality. Our correspondents will tell us more details and updates this morning and many more. So you're invited to join us with your comments and your thoughts. This is the AM show. It's for you. Ubuntu, we are because you are. And so stick and stay with us from now until 10 a.m. We'll bring you the best breakfast show on the block, starting with the AM News now. Welcome to the program. This is the AM News. In our first story, Richard Jakpa, the businessman in the ongoing trial, clashed with state prosecutor in a confrontational cross-examination in the ongoing ambulance procurement trial as he throws a challenge to the AG to provide his version of their explosive WhatsApp chats. In this painstaking proceeding on the first full day of prosecution's cross-examination of Richard Jakpa, which focused mostly on his early days as a military officer, the third accused in the ongoing ambulance procurement trial revealed he was victimized by the hierarchy of the Ghana Armed Forces because of his father. Latif Idrisu was in court for us and has come through with this report.
The audio recording was first put in the public domain by the opposition NDC after Richard Jakpa had said in open court he has been in meetings with the Attorney General trying to impress on him to give testimonies to ultimately convict the minority leader, Dr. Kesi Latofo.
Well, they are claiming it's a doctor tape. I didn't say that. So they should bring the original. You should tell the original to court.
But why did you record the Attorney General?
Well, that is not for you.
He says you've been disingenuous.
But that's what he claims. If
that it was
prosecuting innocent people, who is disingenuous?
It was a private conversation, and now you put it out.
You claim it's a private conversation.
That's what he says.
Well, a private conversation, it's a conversation that leads to committing crimes. It can no longer be private.
At that press conference, where the audio was played, chairman of the opposition NDC, Asiedun Ketia, who ran commentary on the audio, described the Attorney General as the torchbearer of injustice in relation to the court action against the minority leader, and that instead of seeking justice, the Attorney General is rather hell-bent on securing the incarceration of the minority leader.
In my view, if we agree to this theory, it's so simple, the theory of the case.
Not agree to the way you want to go, the way you want to go about it.
So let's agree. Let's describe it that way. Let's describe it that way. Do you want to go about it?
Okay,
if we agree this way, it makes it simple.
Yes, it will make it fine.
It doesn't involve any difficulty for you.
Yes, I agree. I understand your point. That it doesn't.
When you say there's no advancement, And then even next week, the whole of next week, I'll not be around. If there's a way of, if you will not even finish next week, I would appreciate it.
Oh, no, okay, no, I'll not finish next week. I don't think I'll be able to finish because the documents are many.
Because the first accused has already opened and closed his case, his lawyers relied on the contents of that recording to ask for a mistrial, an application the trial judge dismissed, in addition with an application to injunct the Attorney General in the ongoing trial and conduct an inquiry into his conduct. In court on Thursday, the trial judge, in a 10-page ruling, readmitted the audio recording into evidence to now form part of the substantive case itself. According to lawyers for Dr. Atuahene, the recording borders on the letters of credit and the terms of the contract signed between the government of Ghana and Big C to make the case that at the time the Attorney General pressed charges of causing financial loss, he did not have the full facts of the matter.
Tell us what you make of Richard Jakwa's testimony today.
He has given his evidence, isn't it? So we are to test it. You wait on Thursday and beyond, Tuesday and beyond. You get the full story, so don't worry.
What do you make of his testimony?
He has given his evidence in chief. That's his case. But if you come to court and state your case, it doesn't mean that you made your case. I just want to rest there. We are going to examine him. At the end of the day, you make your own judgment.
Do you find it credible, the evidence?
Whether it's credible or not credible, he has given his evidence, and I don't want to prejudge before the court. That's his case. We also confront him with our case, and the court to make a decision out of it.
But are you surprised with the kind of things that he's been saying?
I will not say, because already it's something in the audios that we've heard, so it's not something new.
He made a point that the AG is urging him to get Atuahene to be jailed for at least 1 month.
I don't want to comment because you see, it's a life matter. That's evidence in chief, and as counsel, I don't have to comment on specific. But as I said, when we come to court on Tuesday, all those things will be tackled.
But what's your initial reaction on the ruling?
Oh, the judge decided to make a ruling, and that's how the law works. Today, the judge said our objections are not something that she was going to take. We take it.
You think you have enough under your sleeves to undo what Richard Jakwa has said to court today?
Rest it there, and wait for our side of the matter, and you'll be marveled. You rested there.
The audio, you didn't want the judge to readmit it into evidence. That has happened. Are you disappointed?
Oh, the judge has given the ruling. That's how the law works. If you think you don't want something to be admitted, you raise an objection. This is the duty of the judge to make a pronouncement of such objections. The judge has done so. That's rule of law.
You didn't want it because you felt it wouldn't do well for your case. How bad or damaging is this, admission of the audio to your case?
Not at all, because this audio is something that you have heard, isn't it? Having to heard it, you've heard it. So that is new in it. But it's about procedure. So in terms of the content, we are not minded by that because it's something that is in the public domain. But as to whether you can tender a recorded or secretly recorded audio is something that we wanted to test, because that's why we're talking about law, not about public sentiments, whether you are comfortable, you're not comfortable. It's about due process. And the judge says that that's due process, it can be tendered, we are going by it.
He also talked about the WhatsApp chat between himself and the Attorney General. Do you find that to be credible, or is something that has been made up?
Whether it's credible or not credible, I said, it's a life matter. As a lawyer of at least 22 years standing, I will not conduct my case in the media by saying it's credible, it's not credible. But come to court on Tuesday and hear our side of the matter.
One question that will not run away is the absence of the Attorney General in court. Is it now clear that he's headed to
He reserves the right to be in court. He reserves the right not to be in court. At the time that he wants to be in court, you see him. If he doesn't want to be in court, you also not see him. So it's just normal.
The last time we asked you, you told us that the department, the Attorney General's department, is studying the advice by the sitting judge. Has that been conclusive yet? Reason why he didn't show up in court?
Leave it there. The Attorney General does not prosecute all the cases in our office. If in this particular matter, sometimes he comes, other times he doesn't come. Today he's not in. It doesn't mean that next time he will not be coming. So you leave it there. Tuesday, Wednesday, next month, I'm saying this matter that we started, we are going to prosecute it to its conclusion.
Would the approach of the Attorney General change following this testimony by Richard Jakwa, today's testimony?
What approach? What approach, if you can?
In handling the entire case.
Attorney General, he's vested with the power to prosecute, and if he needs to prosecute...
I'm talking about the department, not Godfrey Atuahene. I'm talking about Attorney General's department.
Like, we are people that prosecuting, do our work as officers of the ministry, So far as we are paid by taxpayer, what approach is going to take? Because the attorneys are paid by the state, they must work because they are being paid. So if they have to come to court to prosecute, they'll come to court and prosecute.
So the strategy wouldn't change?
There's no strategy, whether it's a strategy or there's no strategy. We are prosecuting a specific matter. We are looking at the law, looking at the evidence. We don't take our eyes off the ball. If you do that, by the time you realize you are down. And I think when it comes to prosecution, prosecutors in the AG's office are seasoned prosecutors and their eyes are always on the ball. And this is what we are doing.
According to Richard Jakpa, that from his interaction with the Attorney General and also the pressure being mounted on him by his extended family, he knows that the prosecution of Dr. Keshila Atuahene is nothing but something that is born out of political convenience and vindictiveness.
There you have it, some details and updates on that ongoing ambulance case. But away from that, residents of Wa say they're living in fear following the alleged murder of 2 night security men in the municipality. The 2 incidents took place at different locations, where one of them, 62-year-old Na Bengu Kobina, was allegedly slaughtered. The other incident, which took place at Wa Model Basic School, a middle-aged man is alleged to have been murdered and suspected to have been burnt in the school compound. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
Residents of Konta, who are of multiple ethnic background, woke up this morning to the shocking news of the alleged slaughter of one of their own, Na Bengu Kobina. The 62-year-old father of 6 was found lying at the veranda of the satellite office for the Wa East District Education Office, where he works as a night security. The incident drew a large crowd of residents and passers-by to the scene. They stood quiet, many with grim and bearded tears, while they kept vigil over the dozens of police detectives searching the body of the deceased and the crime scene. Walking few yards away from the scene of the crime is the 4th son of the alleged native of Keleu, Na Bengu Ezekiel Kojo. He is yet to come to terms with what transpired. He recounted his last meeting and words with his extrovert father.
Yesterday, Sunday was a Father's Day. They asked me about that and say, what celebration can we celebrate? So once he said that, I say, oh, what do you want? He asked me, he want one drink. So I bought a drink for him. I think that's the drink that I bought to him, and that's all.
So it means that those were your last moment with your father?
Of course.
Okay, now he's been stabbed to death. What do you want to be done?
Only God. And now...
Also at the crime scene are members of the Upper West Regional Security Council, led by the Upper West Regional Minister, Stephen Yakubu, who kept his store of the Sisala West District on a hiatus following the incident. Residents of Konta says they are shell-shocked about the incident and now lives in fear. Julius Yurunoba is the youth chief of Konta.
We have to live in fear. If this thing can happen to him, it can equally happen to anybody.
Despite the expression of living in fear, Minister Stephen Yakubu has this assurance for the public.
To assure the entire Wa people that the security services will be patrolling, will do what they need to do to make sure that everyone is safe.
Rolling out of Konta and to the Wa Model Junior High School is the next scene of the suspected murder of the school's night security man, Seydou Tarsong. Mama Hassan Tairu is the assistant headmaster of Wa Model Junior High School.
We came early in the morning. Usually we come before he goes home, around 5. So today we got here and we saw his bicycle, including his pump. And we checked around to see whether we could find him. Unfortunately, we didn't find him. So we saw some traces of car tires. So we followed up and checked behind our toilet and almost everywhere. Some of the students said they have seen the car pass in a certain direction. So we followed up and ended at around a nearby forest where we saw some drops of blood on it. So we saw that it was freshly dug place with some burning of a mat and some clothing.
The sea of people who throng
to the scene of the crime are deeply worried to the marrow, wondering whether the issue of suspected murders of security men have clawed back to the community. They are simply asking one question: whether the investigative report that were done by the Security Service has been thrown to the dogs. Mumuni Jamil wants the security agencies, especially the police, to up the ante in their investigations and let the public know the outcome of their previous investigations.
Event has happened, we have not heard anything, the case has come to sleep, and for right now, how can we be rest assured that our security is safeguarded?
The scene at the family house of Nabiago Kobna is enveloped in grief, emotion, and uncontrollable wailing. For now, there's nothing to stop them from grieving unless the perpetrators of the Carlos Act are arrested. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
We'll bring you more details in the course of the program, but away from that, the minority and organized labor are demanding the immediate dismissal of government appointees on the SNIT board and management for their involvement in the proposed sale of 60% stake of 4 hotels to Brian Champon's company, Rock City. Now, this call comes on the back of a demonstration to pile pressure on government to block the sale of hotels to Rock City Hotel Limited. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
All unite to
Hundreds of them poured onto the streets wearing red and singing patriotic songs. Intermittently, the songs were changed to reflect their mood and anger. They are calling on President Akufo-Addo to immediately stop the sale of the state hotels.
This land, the hotels, what is important is that the Alodian landowners must be given equity share in this hotel. There's nothing wrong with giving 30% of the equity shares of all these hotels to the Alodian landowners. And therefore, if you are going to sell it, sit down with them, think about it. Now, what is the benefit to our people? Have you thought about it? Who is going to take over? How much is the hotel sold? What procurement processes do they follow for a sitting member of parliament and a sitting minister of state to benefit from information that is sacred for anyone to contest for procurement processes? This is a violation of ethical rules.
And we will never sit down to let this happen. Ghanaian youth, this is the time. This is the time. Don't sit back and say, it is really important that we all see the importance for we to come together and fight against this oppression.
There was an unexpected guest at the protest, the Lawulamo, Ni Yemo Obroni, who is the high priest of La. He intermittently poured libation during the protest. He invoked the gods to deal with persons he says are not only grabbing state properties but looting their lands.
I'm the chief priest of the land. So they are taking our property on lawful way without we Alodian masters' consent. Do you understand? So if I'm a chief priest, I have to fight for my right because I have kids coming. Do you understand me? Yeah. So we need to tell the government that any land belong to La Gadangwe, they should never dare. They should give our land to X. We don't want problem with you.
Yeah, which land specifically are you talking about?
Chado, Trade Fair, the OTEX, Beach Pump License Office. Here. They have been sold to somebody. Pass and Gadi, back here, no. What is this?
And you say the government has taken the lands without your consent?
Exactly. Government collaboration with the land commission. And this kind of land commission, they are bogus so far so good. They are useless commission over there. They have been stolen all our lands.
Part of the capital city is currently on lockdown as a result of the hands off our hotels demonstration. What you can see right now are vehicles waiting in this gridlock. They cannot move because the protesters have taken over the road. On the road in front of the Labadi Beach Hotel and the La Palm Beach Hotel. As you can see, these vehicles heading to the Central Business District and other parts of the capital are unable to move. Those also moving towards 37, the Al Sports Stadium, Bema Camp area and its environs are unable to move. No vehicle is able to move at this point. It's a gridlock and a bumper-to-bumper situation.
It was all peaceful until a scuffle broke out between the protesters and personnel of the Ghana Police Service. Police was forced to use pepper spray to disperse the agitated crowd. The protesters had tried going beyond police barricade. North-Tong Member of Parliament Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa says Parliament would take a serious view of the issue. He says some of the demonstrators were injured in the process.
We asked colleagues to rush them to the hospital. I suspect they are at the 37 hospitals, but I don't have the current report on their status because I've been presenting the petition. But I'm going there right away with our colleagues, and we will not abandon them in the battlefield. We are going to check up on them, and we'll keep you updated.
So what exactly happened to them, though?
Unprovoked, tear gas, pepper spray, and a number of them collapsed, a number of them got injured. Totally unacceptable. The police have exhibited bad faith. We agreed that we will terminate at Christ the King Church. Christ the King Church. This is not Christ the King Church. So why take us by surprise and then on top of that use pepper spray, use tear gas? We cannot accept that. We will look into this. I've told the regional police commander that Parliament is going to take a strong view of this, and you'll certainly hear from us on this one.
Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa later presented a 15-point petition to the Deputy Chief of Staff, Emmanuel Edumwa Bosman.
We call on President Akufo-Addo to immediately stop the sale of our state hotels. 2, we take the view that state assets should not be sold, especially profitable ones. Historically, since 1966, the sale of state assets has not been in the supreme interest of Ghana, and we therefore cannot continue on that destructive trajectory. In any case, the government should not sell workers' properties without the permission and consent of workers and all Ghanaians. It is wrong, immoral, and unethical for ministers and government officials to buy state assets. President Akufo-Addo must not preside over this detestable and dangerous practice, particularly when he assured the nation that his appointees who want to make money through such transactions should rather stay in the private sector.
The Deputy Chief of Staff, Emmanuel Edumwa Bosman, received the petition and said government will study it and get back with feedback.
We want to keep in the spirit of democracy. As you know, this year is an election year. We want to do everything in a clean, peaceful, and calm manner. So I've received this petition on behalf of the President. I'll submit same, and I can assure you that it will be looked into and the appropriate measures taking place as and when it is deemed fit and proper to do so. Thank you so very much, and God bless us all.
In other stories, the government of Ghana has signed a $12 billion agreement with China's TCP-IUC consortium for the first phase of the Petroleum Hub Development Project in Jomoro municipality of the Western region. The project is expected to create 780,000 direct and indirect jobs and revolutionize the downstream petroleum sector in Ghana and across Africa. This agreement, made between Ghana's Petroleum Hub Development Corporation and China's TCP-IUC consortium, is part of a broader $60 billion investment by the Ghanaian government to transform the energy sector. There's more in the following report.
Divided into 3 phases, the first phase costing $12 million
and spanning the next 4 years will include constructing a state-of-the-art refinery with a capacity of 300,000 barrels per day, a petrochemical plant, a 3 million cubic meters of storage tanks, and the development of a jetty and port infrastructure. The signing ceremony included key sector stakeholders and traditional leaders from Nzemaland. Chief Executive Officer of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, Charles Owusu, stated that the project, when fully operational, will enhance energy security by complementing existing refineries in Ghana and across the continent.
When this project is operating at full capacity, it will rather complement and not compete with fully functional Tema Oil and Senti Oil refineries, Dangote's refinery, and all other refineries dotted across African continent to help meet our energy needs. Additionally, it is to help Ghana sustainably explore her numerous hydrocarbon deposits for jobs, energy, revenue, and further integration with the global economy and development without turning a blind eye on the ongoing global energy transition effort and climate change.
The Minister of State Enterprises, Joseph Kujo, explained the funding mechanisms of the project.
It is a Ghana government securing land, 20,000 acres land space in the Jomoro district, and that has been done. And a Ghana government establishing a functioning institution like the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation. That has been done and staffed. And a Ghana government and PADC signing lease agreements. You know, PADC, the land is vested in the PADC. So signs lease agreement with investors who come in and establish the components, the refineries, the petrochemical plants, the storage tanks, the pipelines, and everything. So the first leasing agreement is what we witnessed. So it is like you have an anchor tenant who you have signed an agreement with to come and develop. Once they hit the ground and start development, the other investors will come in with their money.
The Minister of Energy, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, tasked environmental regulation agencies to ensure strict adherence to protocols, ensuring local communities benefit fully from the project.
We have to find a way of making sure our natural resources God has given us, we don't let it go to waste. And at the same time, not to degrade the environment as we are doing that. So and the Petroleum Commission has been leading the charge to make sure health and safety issues and environmental issues in the oil and gas industry is dealt with. The MPA, Petroleum Commission, and the Ghana Standards Authority have also taken care of one thing that I'm going to talk about, and that is physical measuring or physical measurement. You know, you can take as much oil as you are, but if you can't count 1, 2, 3, how much you have taken out, maybe the people of Jomoro will not get the development that the people of Obuasi never got because they took so much gold and we couldn't count our resources. We have to be able to count our resources.
On his part, President of the Western Regional House of Chiefs, Awulai Angamatu Ejan II, assured their support for the transformative project.
Another Seventh-day Adventist Church has launched an ambitious entrepreneurial program to expose the teeming unemployed youth in the church to employable skills and avenues. At least 15,000 graduates of the church will be groomed and supported to work on proposals to turn their business ideas into realities. Dubbed National Employability and Entrepreneurial Skill Training, the initiative will run in conjunction with the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. My colleague Oheming Tewia, who sat through the launch in Kumasi, has more in the following report.
Hundreds of university graduates from KNUST and technical universities, including the Akenton Apiaminka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development and the Kumasi Technical University, among others, turned up in their numbers for the national launch. 3,000 beneficiaries have been rolled onto the first module of the program, which is categorized into 3. They are being taught empowerment, idea incubation, startups, and implementation of business models. And Yusra is the national coordinator. According to him, the time has come for Adventist youth in the fields of sciences, engineering, fashion, and agro-processing to be empowered to be self-reliant through employable skills.
You know, government sector is choked. It's choked with, they can no longer employ people. But again, if the students can come out with ideas, you see, all that they need is training. If they can come out with ideas and then start something, they can employ themselves and also get other friends, other colleagues to be employed. Our focus is those doing sciences, the engineering, those doing fashion, who can go into manufacturing, agro-processing, waste processing. Those are the areas that we want them to go into, and the church is helping us. Then, fortunately for us, GRA has a policy of exempting them from 5 years, they will not pay tax. So we have brought all of them here to train them, to explain this policy to them, so that they can also take advantage of the policy. So our plan is that if we are able to get more entrepreneurs, this employment issue that is a burden to the government will be lessened.
The president of the Northern Ghana Union, Dr. Kwabena Atuahene, is happy with the prospects of the NEST program. He insists the program will succeed in catering for the youth, who form the 80% of membership.
These young people who have finished college, who have learned trade, they must get a job, they must be employed. And therefore, if all these young people get employed, the church stands to gain a lot. They'll be able to cater for themselves, for their families, for the church, for the community and the country at large. And therefore, if this thing succeeds and it sinks deep into the mind, the church, the country stand to gain a lot.
Director of Business Support and Policy at the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, NEP, Franklin Owusu-Kakari, a keynote speaker, wants beneficiaries to take advantage of opportunities available to the youth at NEIP. This includes the Ghana Cares Obatampa, YouStart, which provides grants of between 10,000 and 100,000 Ghana cedis to local entrepreneurs, and the Ghana Economic Transformation Project, among others.
The YouStart and the Yes for P project, which is under the support of the World Bank, which we are, all the things are set for us to begin. You know, GEA, our sister agency, began a portion last year. We will also continue a portion this year to ensure that tailor-made supports are given to the young people of this country. You know, most of the support systems from even development partners, a lot of them are circulating online. A lot of them are on the nets. But most of these young people are not searching for them. So they think that, oh, and you know, if you are not informed, you are deformed. So we are urging them that they should use their phone wisely. When they get a phone, they should just Google, they should just search what are the funding support for young people in Ghana, in Africa. And a number of them will pop up. And you can be able to say how you can apply.
Meanwhile, some participants at the launch have been sharing their experiences.
I've been so inspired that our church has thought it twice, that as the youth coming up, there's a way to create employment for us, so that even after school we can work for ourselves, or we can open up something, we can set up something to help ourselves and then help the church too. So
my take home will be that opportunities are available for all of us, and that will be that there's a chance for me to start up my own business if I want to, and to make it big.
Interior reporting.
Welcome aboard. Let's zoom right into it. And economist Professor Patrick Esuming has urged government to immediately resolve the energy sector crisis once and for all. Else, the manufacturing sector will not witness any growth. According to him, it will be hard to see manufacturing doing very well when electricity production is declining. His comment follows a contraction of electricity by 7.5% in Q1 of 2024. Now, reacting to the development, Professor Esuming entreated government to take pragmatic steps to address the energy sector concerns. He spoke to Joy Business.
Actually, electricity sector has been declining since 2022. If you go back and check the data, so it's no surprise that we've seen the kind of load shedding or load management or whatever it will be called. It's something that we've all been feeling, that we are not producing enough electricity, and the numbers clearly bear it out. We know, given the importance of the electricity sector and the energy sector as a whole for our economy, I think it's something that we really need to pay a lot of attention to and resolve the energy sector difficulties once and for all. Otherwise, we know that it's hard to see manufacturing doing very well when electricity production is declining. So overall, this shows that perhaps things are not getting as bad as it could be, but at the same time, it also shows that there are significant weaknesses. I think the policymakers should not be too swayed by the overall headline number and start thinking that we're out of the woods, yes.
And that's it for our business updates this morning. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Yes, Benjamin, on that note, let's get ready for the news review segment. And that ends it for the AM News. Stick and stay. We're right back on your screens. We're back on your screens for the news review segment. Benjamin and I are seated, and I don't know why he wants to, contest silence, or what is it, a standoff?
That's the word, a standoff. I just wanted you to smile, actually. I wanted to see what the look on your face would be if I did that. I have a little bit of a prankster in me, so yeah,
it's good
sometimes.
to see it come out every once in a while. I like it when you match your tie with
Kanakabium.
Yeah.
So my lapel pin, to my pocket square, to my Charles Terry tie.
Very flowery, like this flowery gentleman
from
the 80s.
The fact that
strutting on them.
The fact that things are hard doesn't mean
they have nothing on you.
They have nothing on me. Nothing on me. But it's another morning. We're here and we're about to veer into the newspaper review. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, as always, will be joining the conversation. But before I bring him in, we are grateful always to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They help us bring you this segment. And here's what they're offering you, gratis, for free. If you're a man, they're offering you prostate screening for free. Do you know what the state of your prostate is? If you're a woman, they're offering you fertility screening for free. Just reach out to them at any of their branches here in Accra. At Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronoma Bwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Tichiman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zama. You can reach them on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the newspaper review, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante is a political scientist at the University of Ghana. He's also director of the Center for European Studies. Doc, Memo Achi.
Yeah, we're about. Mr. Marching, my sweetie Achi. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes.
Indeed now. So we're going to start from here, as always, give you time to share a few thoughts, and then Sweetie will follow up from there with her stack of papers. Doc?
Yes. I think today I want to look at a few issues that have cropped up in the campaign. One of it is the issue of the gesture of some of these campaign leaders. In recent times, we've seen the Vice President, John Mahama, and some of the MPs, at least I've seen one, that is Junior Michael Quay and all that. What are they doing that is worth talking about this morning? You see them, some of them, dancing around when they meet the youth. You see some of them, washing clothes, Michael Quay's son. You see some of them visiting places where people are having fun, playing indoor games and all that, and trying to take part in this. They don't add to their campaign. I want to be blunt on that. I saw a video where I saw some of the Vice President with Ashanti Regional Chairman and Madam Atuahene, I don't know whether it's a recent video, but the one I've seen on the Vice President dancing around and all that, and then also doing as the young people are doing, I am saying that is not, it doesn't add to the campaign. The youth do not want the dance gestures. They do not want to see their leaders come to their home to wash their clothing for them. No. What they want is a message of hope, message that will give them, a hope that yes, there is something from their leaders for them. Issue of employment is what they want to be addressed. They want their leaders to talk about unemployment and how they will find answers to that. They want their leaders to talk about the economy, how they make it strong at all times. They want to see their leaders fix the problems of the country they find themselves. They want their leaders to put in measures that will stop the migration of young blood to other countries in seeking for greener pastures. They want electricity problem, the doomsday economy to end, and the rest of them. So, Mr. Vice President, I'm sorry. Those guys said that dancing and all those things would not add anything to your campaign. What we want are real solutions. Let me quote you. Bold solutions, and solutions that we can interrogate, discuss with our people, and share if there's a need to share, and condemn if there needs to condemn and throw them away. We want that type of dialogue. We don't want those gestures. Mr. John Dramani Mahama is also a victim in this area. To also shy away. We want solutions. One solution that will address this problem than the dancing gestures, than playing to the gallery, so to speak.
Right.
The populist stance.
Right.
I mean, in these matters, we don't want them. We want real solutions. Solution that will stand the test of time.
Thank you, Doc. Thanks for those thoughts. Shall we get into the papers?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the voting population really are discerning enough to say that we're voting for policies, we're voting for ideas, messages of hope instead of the dancing man and all these gestures. But
what do you have against the Vice President and his dance?
I don't have anything against...
It irks you, eh?
It irks me a bit that there are serious things going on in the country, and it's like they just
you've been upset since yesterday.
They become silent, and yet when it's about dancing...
City, get it. Would they continue to do that as soon as they win power? Would you see your MPs coming around to wash your clothing? And even if they would do, is that what they were supposed to do? You see your Vice President in your home pounding fufu after winning power. Would they do that? I wouldn't want to go there.
But Doc, it also tells that that's how low they think of us. They think that's what wins the vote for them. You see, so they do that because that's what we...
And then criticize so that we bring to the attention of our people that, look, this is not good enough. Shy away from this.
Right.
When they come, don't give them attention.
Okay. Let's get into the papers. I have three major papers, so I'll do 3 stories in each. So I'll quickly run through the Daily Guide, and then I'll come to you, Doc, before we get into the others. I'll start with the Daily Guide newspaper. On the front page, on this hotel demo, protesters clash with police. On the €2.37 million ambulance case, JACPA sent AG 68 WhatsApp messages. Court throws out suit against IGP. BOG, Bank of Ghana, justifies GN Bank's license revocation, and woman kills mother over witchcraft. Let's get into the stories now. Yeah, that's a rather sad one. I'll get into that story as well so we get the details. Starting with, in fact, it's here, so let's get into that story now. Woman kills mother over witchcraft. A 55-year-old woman, Joyce Boateng, has allegedly killed her biological mother, Ifia Sapong, who's 76, at Ibuakwa Asenemanso near Kumasi. On Monday dawn, the suspect, without provocation, was said to have stabbed her mother multiple times with a sharp knife and left her in a pool of blood. After committing this heinous crime, Joyce reportedly left her dead mother in a locked room and raced to a nearby cemetery where she tried to end her own life, but to no avail. According to reports, a certain man of God had prophesied to Joyce that her mother was a witch and responsible for the difficulties she had been facing in life. We're all going through, everyone is facing one thing or the other. It shouldn't...
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. A lot of young people, one more and I say, wow, then you get up and, oh, it is my grandma, it is my grandpa, it is what? I mean, if the thing is this, even if, I know there's spirituality, even in the Bible, there's talk about witchcraft, sorcery, and all of that. But these people gave birth to you, or they gave birth to your parents, right? They didn't kill you till you grew up, became a teen, started working, and things are not going well. It is now that they want to do something to you. Plus, how do you prove that in a court of law? That's why you don't deal with spiritual matters in court. So this thing, I mean, people who engage in them, they should be dealt with. Bobra, and if you feel someone is a witch or wizard or whatever and is affecting you, be prayerful. Do what you must spiritually, but physically, killing the person and claiming this, it is. I'm sorry, it is so stupid.
55-year-old woman. So you've lived for 55 years, and this woman, this mother who birthed you, is responsible for all the hardships that you're going through.
You will not attack our leaders, right? Our misleaders, and ensure that the Constitution says it. I think Article 36, your economic rights and all of that. We'll not focus on that. You go and kill some poor woman somewhere who has no idea. Is she the cause of your not getting a job? I mean, I'm not saying that there is no such thing. I know there are, but there are ways of dealing with spiritual matters. You go and kill someone and claim, let the Lord deal with this person. That's it.
She drank poison, and the poison didn't kill her. So anyway. The second story I'll do is on this hotel demo, protesters police clash. So the intended peaceful hands-off our hotel demonstration led by Member of Parliament for Norton, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, against the sale of major hotels owned by Social Security and National Insurance Trust erupted into a clash between protesters and police personnel. This was after the protesters, who had earlier agreed to halt their march at Christ the King School, where the group's leadership would present a petition to the president, began agitating, thereby forcing their way through to the Jubilee House, which was met with some level of resistance by the police personnel. The police immediately raised barricades to halt their march, but the protesters began pulling them apart and started pelting the officers with stones. The police were forced to use water cannons and tear gas to disperse the crowd that had become rowdy and to restore calm. I listened to Okudzeto-Ablakwa yesterday, and he said that they were stopped prematurely. They were supposed to march to Christ the King, but the police halted them on the way to Christ the King. And so I don't know if the story's report is accurate, but I heard Okudzeto-Ablakwa say that they didn't get to Christ the King. So that's that. The last story I'll throw in before I come to you, Doc, is Bank of Ghana justifies GN Bank's license revocation. The Bank of Ghana has justified the decision to revoke the license of GN Bank in 2019, citing breaches of regulatory protocols as a primary reason behind the regulatory intervention, emphasizing the institution's failure to adhere to essential financial regulations and banking standards crucial for operational viability. The central bank defended its stringent stance on upholding systemic integrity over reinstating GN Bank's license upon demand from its management. The Bank of Ghana cited an incident where the management of the defunct bank transferred $62 million customers' deposits to support related company in the United States, leading to overexposure of the bank. The central bank maintains that GN Bank failed to comply with critical financial regulations and banking standards, which threatened its operations stability, and thus it cannot restore the license of GN Bank as demanded by the management. So the Bank of Ghana is saying that GN Bank has no case in view of the serious breaches committed by the bank. Doc, these three stories for your take before we proceed.
I will start with the witchcraft story. And I said it's very, very unfortunate. Unfortunate in the sense that, God has given us life, and then we are directed by our brain to do work for ourselves and earn a living. Let me also just flip the coin this way. Imagine that you accuse somebody of witchcraft, and then at the end of the day, things turn around better for you. Would you go and praise that witchcraft, that witch? Would you go and praise for making? You will not assign your success to the power of the witch. It is so, and it's against this backdrop that we advise people that shy away from these things. One, you will find yourself in an opposition, and two, you will also incur the wrath of the state, and the whole society, because the witches have no hand in whatever happens to you. Your destiny is in your own hand. How you model yourself, how you direct your own affairs is a function of your success or your suffering. That's it. So if you decide to take your chances right and then go by the rules of society and that of your religion you believe in, you are good to go. If you decide to do otherwise, you must prepare for a pain that you are supposed to bear. So I think people like this, the law, the coercive apparatus of the state, I'm sure, have taken judicial notice of the action, and they will find a proper place for their conduct. We don't need such people in society, because they are enemies to the open society. And that, why do you want to kill somebody? The person you call a witch is even struggling with her own problem, and you going ahead to inflict pain and then eventually death to that person, cause death to that person. That's unfortunate. We need to educate our youth that, look, success is by dint of hard work, and that you need to always organize yourself well and take advantage of your society and move on. No society is perfect, but we need to take advantage of whatever little opportunities that come our way to make life better for us. And Nkrumah told us that organization decides everything. And I'll add Aristotle's saying that the unexamined life is not worth living. If you are living a certain lifestyle and you are not making progress, take a back seat, reflect upon it, do self-introspection, soul searching, and at the end of the day, you will know where the problem comes from. It doesn't come from any witch. I am a traditional person. I believe in traditional things, but I don't believe in the power of any witchcraft. I work. My destiny is my own hand, and I have to work and make life better for myself. That's all. All
right, Doc. There are many other stories in the Daily Guide. Pick one for yourself and get into the stories. Now let's come to the Ghanaian Times news sweep. On the front page on economic recovery program, the World Bank has approved $250 million for energy sector, provides $10 million grant to help improve service delivery. Let's collaborate to change global financial architecture. That is Abena Osayasari urging African government. Economy grows to 4.7% first quarter of 2024. That is according to Ghana Statistical Service. Interior Ministry cracks down on unapproved private security uniforms. I'll do three quick stories here, starting from page 3. Security personnel schooled on election violence prevention. A total of 111 security personnel yesterday began a 5-day election violence security course to deepen their knowledge in security issues ahead of the 2024 general elections. The course is designed to address electoral violence in West Africa by equipping personnel of law enforcement agencies with effective prevention, management, and response strategies. And this is happening in Tamale, the northern regional capital. The participants were drawn from the Upper East, Upper West, Savannah, Northern and Northeast regions. And it's a 5-day event which forms part of efforts to ensure a peaceful and successful polls in December 2024. And it's being organized by the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center with support from the German government. It is aimed to enhance the capacity of government security services across West Africa to safeguard the electoral processes and ensure free, fair and peaceful elections. Second story I'll do now is national security ordered to probe audio recording of court proceedings. So the High Court in Accra yesterday has directed the national security to investigate the source of an audio recording of court proceedings in the ongoing 2.7 million euros ambulance case last Thursday. This came up during the cross-examination by Attorney General of Mr. Richard Jakpa, third accused in the case yesterday. It was after Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuya Yeboah indicated that an audio recording of last week's proceedings was making the rounds on social media. Consequently, Justice Efiasewa Asariboche retired into chambers and invited the parties involved in the case. So the prosecution was represented by the two Deputy Attorney Generals, Alfred Tuya Yeboah and Dinah Sonabadapa, and the Director of Public Prosecution, Yvonne Atokora. The two accused, Jakpa and Dr. Kesil Atoforsen, were also invited into the chambers. So that's that, an audio recording about court proceedings that the judge is not very happy about. And this story is actually from myjoyonline.com. Last story I'll do in this paper is on page 9. I'll get to that in a bit. Yeah. World Bank approves $250 million for energy sector, provides 10 million grants to help improve service delivery. So the World Bank has approved an amount of 250 million credits from the International Development Association to support a 4-year Ghana energy sector recovery program for results to improve the financial viability of electricity distribution and increase access to clean cooking solutions. In addition, the World Bank had provided a $10 million grant from the Energy Sector Management Assistance Program to help improve energy service delivery. A statement issued by the Ministry of Finance in Accra yesterday and copied to the Ghanaian Times said the P4R would provide financing directly to energy sector utilities to implement capital expenditure programs and complement regulatory and policy reforms of the energy sector. The Finance Ministry said the support was under the World Bank's Development Policy Financing Series and the ongoing IMF Extended Credits Facility Program for Ghana. There are many other stories, like Interior Ministry cracks down on unapproved private security uniforms. And on the back page, include recommended herbal medicine into National Health Insurance medicine list, and 2024 Green Ghana project exceeds targets. But those are just the ones we'll get into now. Doc?
Yes, I will start with election violence and security issues. This democracy, we have come a long way to build it up to this level. People have sacrificed their lives and they've brought it to this point. We have seen trouble happening in around the sub-region, and we want to make sure that we don't reverse. Democracy, when they reverse, people go back to authoritarian rule, and life there you and I are not happy with. So we want to maintain our democracy all the time. But we have seen time and again where there are violence that have even marred certain electoral processes and all that. I'll commend the Kofi Annan Center for this bold initiative. It is the way to go. And I urge the security, the apparatus, that look, it is not enough to go through that training and then when you get to the field, something different happens. We want them to walk the talk. What they have learned from that, they should implement that. And that the service they've rendered for the country towards election security, they've done so well so far. But a few aberrations we have seen, we don't want a repeat of that. Where last election, 8 people were gunned down and up to date. Nobody have found the reason to talk about it and discuss them and then find a solution to this problem. It's unfortunate. We don't want a repeat of that because these are nothing but they serve as a blot on the mind of our democratic credentials. We don't want that. We want genuine, free and fair election policing, and that you see professionals at work and then they allow the process to go on without type of behavior. So this type of program is good and it should strengthen the frontiers of policing in election. Remember that you can have all the nice processes going on during election, but when there's violence, it throws everything out. This democracy is too expensive for us. Let us see it. I'll touch on the World Bank and then the support for the energy sector. We always get support here and there. And at the end of the day, we still have problems. Why? We need to put our house in order and then make sure that the energy problem is dealt with once and for all. The story and the politics in there is what I am angry about. All the time, our leaders are not transparent in the things that happen in the energy sector. They give us half-truths. They don't tell us the whole picture and all that. And we always play politics with some of these things. Please let us have make sure that the energy sector problems are fixed once and for all. Any support we get is an additional something. We should not always rely on outsiders to support all the things that we do, including generating energy for our own selves and then making our lives better. There's a cost to that. That if you want to depend on donor agencies or international organizations for support for certain basic things of your life, you need support from them. A time will come, they will hold you to ransom. So we don't want to get there. Let us organize ourselves internally and make sure that we take our destiny in our own hands and then we make things better for us. So we have a lot of resources. Let's manage them well and support our own cause. and leave donor agencies. If they come in, fine. If they don't come in, we move on. Because there's a price to pay for receiving support from donors and international organizations. The day that you pay for, you'll be in pain.
Right. Let's hope that day never comes. The last paper on my table this morning is the New Finder newspaper. On the front page, economy grows 4.7% in first quarter, driven by industry and service sectors. World Bank approves $260 million for Ghana's energy sector. Helps solve Ghana's economic woes. PK Amwabeng to business executives. Demo rock sale of 60% shares in SNIT hotels. Some of these stories we've already gotten into, so I just want to touch on this story on page 2 of the New Finder newspaper. Ministry of Health appeals to medical laboratory professionals to call off strike. And the Ministry of Health has appealed to the Medical Laboratory Professional Workers Union to reconsider their planned industrial action, set to commence on June 17. It has said about 2 days ago. In a press release signed by the PRO, Isaac Ofei-Bam, the ministry urged the union to exercise patience while negotiations are expedited to address their demands. The government's negotiation team, which includes representatives from the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, is actively working to finalize the proposed conditions of service. I mean, they're saying that they've been asking for some, that whatever they're asking for, these negotiations have been stalled for 2 years. And now that they've embarked on this industrial action, they're asking them to recall so that they would come back to the table and discuss. Until their demands are met, they're not calling off their strike. And that was all that happened yesterday. Economy grows 4.7% in first quarter. Police assures justice over the killing of 2 persons in Wa. We'll get into this story in the course of the program. And mandatory health insurance for foreigners embroiled in confusion. The operationalization of the government's policy for a mandatory national health insurance policy for short-term foreign visitors has encountered significant contradictions among oversight and implementation strategies. Dubbed the National Non-Resident Visitors Health Insurance, the policy was launched by the Ministry of Health in February 2024, with the National Health Insurance Authority designated as the key implementing agency. Now, this policy targets non-residents visiting Ghana for less than 6 months within any 12-month period. Now, according to the Minister for Health, Mr. Kwekwajiman-Menu, the policy aligns with the National Health Insurance Act, which mandates the provision of quality and accessible health care for both residents and non-residents of Ghana. But they're saying that this is not a policy, it's just a proposal. So that's the confusion about it. Is this a policy that's already been implemented, or is this a proposal that they're looking at to get into it? But time will not allow me to get into other stories, Doc.
Yes, I'll touch on the medical lab people and their demonstration or their strike action. More often than not, our leaders will start something with their employees and then it will get nowhere. Instead of addressing their issues head on, they keep on postponing until such a time that they see acts like this, demonstration, strike, and whatnot. Please let us be proactive. If there is something that the workers have brought to the fore of management, take a critical look, discuss, and find lasting solution to the problem. Get to the bottom of it so that we don't have a repeat of this thing. They will be on strike, we'll lose lives, lose a whole man-hour periods and the rest of them. And then later we'll come back to pay them and they continue to work. The lost hours, who pays for that? You paid already. What did we gain out of that? They look to what? Look at these things and act promptly so as to save us this unnecessary banter. It is no good for our political and economic health.
All right, Benjamin.
Well, Doc, I'm going to be very brief because we actually passed our time, but I'm going to look very quickly at a few papers. The Daily Graphic newspaper, demonstrators, and so I'm just going to focus on the crucial ones. Demonstrators urge President to halt sale of SNIT hotels. That is reflected in the Ghanaian publisher newspaper, SNIT sale of 60% shares in 6 hotels, the facts behind the yet-to-be-concluded deal. Then, reversing external aid dependency, prioritize higher education, Lord Paul Boateng to African leaders. He's a member of the UK House of Lords, and he has challenged Africa's emerging leaders to place a premium on higher education to break the vicious cycle of dependency on external aid and the great powers. I'll just quote this bit he says. The great powers, he said, quote, have fed and continue to feed on Africa's resources and their activities with their willing collaborators hold Africa down in an impoverished and conflicting posture. There's also economy grows 4.7% first quarter, and this international story. Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera has assured Malawians of an independent probe into the death of the Vice President Saulos Chilima in a plane crash. Well, you can grab further details in that paper. But there's something I want to do before I let go of you. The Accra Times first. Forgotten story of Gregory Afoko, a clear case of human rights abuse? It's a question. As he continues to move in and out of court with a swollen upper arm, the judge who granted him bail in 2021 was transferred to Ho. It makes for interesting reading. There are no suggestions, but what is happening in that case? If the person is culpable, put them in the can. And if they are not, why do we prolong these issues? But I just wanted to do this. As a doc, you've worked in journalism before, I believe in the early 2000s. Sometimes you see stories, and the editor of the Republic Press newspaper is one Samuel Frimpong. Recently, my guest had to lampoon the editor of the Daily Graphic newspaper. The headline, Ablakwa discredited again over Rock City losses claims. But I'm going to read this story intentionally, and you tell me where there is any debunking and what the evidence is. The story says documents obtained from Rock City Hotel have debunked Samuel Kudjato Ablakwa's claims that the hotel is making losses. This development comes on the heels of Ablakwa's much-hyped demonstration, look at the wording, which aimed to incite hatred against Brian Echampong, Minister of Agriculture, over the sale of SNIT's shares in its hotels. Ablakwa's consistent claims have been exposed, revealing a pattern of political desperation. His demonstration, which lacked focus and reliance on falsehoods, have undermined his credibility and that of the opposition. The documents from Rock City Hotel clearly indicate that the hotel is operating profitably, contradicting Ablakwa's claims. This evidence raises questions about Ablakwa's true motives and his willingness to spread falsehoods for political gain. The SNIT Hotel shares sale controversy has been hijacked by Ablakwa's political agenda, distracting from legitimate concerns and substantive issues. Reading this story, like it lacked focus and reliance on falsehoods, he has discredited himself and the opposition, his true motives, hyped demonstration. Who is editing this paper? I am shocked. And by the way, where is the evidence to the contrary that you claim to have? You put this out, no evidence, and he cited one of the big four accounting firms in terms of his source of data, and even, I believe, the GRA. What is your source? I'll leave you with that, since you've also worked with the press before. Final comments, Doc, and we can go.
Yes, I think it's very unfortunate. I don't see it as a story. I see it as a commentary without the facts in there. If you are writing an opinion, the opinion flows with facts, and that it should be treated as such. If it's a straight news story, there's a way to put it across, and it should be backed with facts. I didn't see those ingredients in the story. It's for me, any other thing that he had churned out. Let's leave it and move on. The real stories are what we are seeing at Shraj, what we are seeing with the people demonstrating about the issue, what we are seeing about labor, telling us what they want to do, and then the people of Gandangwe community hitting the street and, expressing themselves in this fashion. That's the real issue. So I believe that the editor should go back to the basis and get the basis right. These things do not help his or her paper. I believe that he need to up the game. It is important, and that we make sure that journalism practices to the highest. Yeah, that's all that I can say. But the demonstration that also degenerated into some little violence, those things, very unfortunate. People have the right to demonstrate and express themselves. Public opinion, how in political science, demonstration is part of the means by which we express issue of public opinion.
Right.
So, and the Constitution gives us the power to do that. So when we do that, we should not be faced with any difficulty and all that, provided we also work within the framework of the law. That is how it ought to be.
Doc, thank you so much for your time with us this morning. We're immensely grateful. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante.
I wish you a good day.
I wish you same. He's a political scientist. He's also director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. But before we go, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, as always, helping us bring you this segment. They are offering you free prostate screening if you're a man, free fertility screening if you're a woman. Reach out to them at any of their branches here in Accra, at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Klonoma Bwehia behind the Angel Educational Complex, the Stakrade Energy Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and the Siaman Zama. You can reach them on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Before we get into sports, we at the Multimedia Group are proud to announce that we are the official free-to-air radio broadcast right owners of Euro 2024, and we will deliver live commentary of selected games, including the opening game and the final, with our team of talented commentators and analysts on Joy FM, Love FM, Hits FM, Adum FM, Insura FM, and Asempa FM. Now, apart from the live radio commentary, the Multimedia Group has also curated custom Euro 2024 shows on radio, TV, and digital, as well as live viewing events, all aimed at delivering an unparalleled experience of the competition to our audience, and that's you. So the Multimedia Group's radio broadcast coverage of the Euro 2024 tournament is by courtesy of Sporty TV and Sporty Bet. Watch selected matches of Euro 2024 live on Sporty TV channel 36 on your digital TV sets. We'll be back with sports.
Good morning. Welcome to AM Sports. Here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah. Match 4 of the Ghana Premier League happened on a Sunday, and across many of the centres, there were reported alleged match fixing or match manipulation, as some of the outcome of the matches were considered to be inappropriate. Well, football coach and pundit Nana Ajiman has called on the Ghana Football Association to cancel the entire season because he believes that the league is filthy.
I think a big part of the responsibility lies with the club licensing. It lies with the GFA, because you turn a blind eye to so many things in order to let the league happen, in order to say that we have a Premier League, but really we don't. It's Division 1. It's Division 1 that we have. It's not a Premier League. Every club is suffering from the same thing, a serious inertia. They have no money. They have no will. Nothing is going on correctly. The league is not managed appropriately from day one. And this is where it's taken us to. It's unbelievable that, RTU would go to this length, but it does beg the question, have they done it before with 1 or 2 or 3 players? Because seriously, there is an audacity that one could believe that they could replace 90% of their team and not be found out. It's a serious audacity, but it also speaks to the lack of integrity of our game. It speaks to the lack of integrity of the Premier League and of the rest of the leagues as well, because God knows what happens down there in Division 1, Division 2 for clubs that are seeking, to be promoted. Only God knows what happens. Things have cooled down a bit. The beatings in Division 1s and all those things has come down a bit, but there's so much going on. It's totally unbelievable. But I think the buck stops with the GFA. RTU, well, they're out of the Premier League, and they should be out of association football for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. Just like, Ashanti Gold. They should be booted out because the league has no integrity. The league has no integrity. And it's not the first year, is it? There's always been an issue, season after season, that questions the league's integrity.
The league has no integrity. That is according to Nana Ajiman. The league ended on Sunday, and on Tuesday, Kumasi Asante Kotoko announced that about 11 players have been released by the club. They include 21-year-old Ibrahim Danlad, who was a standing captain of the team. Let's go through the list of players Kumasi Asante Kotoko has announced that they have been released. You have Carlo Ouattara and Nicolas Osei-Bonsu, Isaac Opong, Augustine Japan, Nicolas Mensah, John Tedeku, Sharif Mohammed, George Mfege, Eric Zeze, Ibrahim Danlad, and Moise Puati. So 2 players who are goalkeepers have been allowed to leave the club, and about 4 of them are defenders. And then there's also Isaac Opong, who is a forward. Now let's hear from head coach of the team, Prosper Nathel Ogum, who has been explaining the reasons behind their decision to part company with as many as 11 players.
Reflect on what went on in terms of player recruitment, in terms of player performance, in terms of player discipline. We need to look at all these things, which, of course, we have already done. We've had a series of meetings on this. We need to do a lot of structural changes in the playing body, with respect to signing of some players to come to augment. This time, not players from lower divisions, but players who have seen it in the Premier League. So these are basically some of the things that we need to also do. We need to actually go out there as early as possible to make sure that the signings that we want, or the players that we want, we are able to get them as quickly as possible.
Now let's hear from the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okweku, who has called on Parliament to pay attention when it comes to the investment of football. According to him, the game is lacking a financial injection, and he wants Parliament to contribute their quota to the development of the game.
It's a key need area, football funding or sports funding, if I have to be fair a bit. It's a key need area that needs your immediate attention. We speak about Ghana being a football nation. It's time for us to do the do. It is time for us to do the do and to do what will help the sports industry. A few days ago, Thomas Partey, the leader of the Black Stars, spoke about the need for more attention to be given to infrastructure. It is the truth. It's important that we need a charge for better playing surfaces for our footballers. That's the only way they can play quality football and to show what they have. Mr. Speaker, if you don't have good players, excellent playing surfaces doesn't really matter. If you have top talents like we do have in Ghana, they need excellent playing surfaces. And it is a clarion call, Mr. Speaker, I will leave with this House. If we want to be consistent with the top players, we need the basics. The basics include what I have just spoken about.
Meanwhile, the former Minister for Youth and Sports, Neelante van der Poel, has berated the construction of AstroTurfs across the country. According to him, there's no better football pitch constructed that has its foundation been rocks. And he says that for Ghana to be able to get the right pitches for players to develop, they must move away from the construction of AstroTurfs.
Because you don't do AstroTurf with a concrete base. It's never done. Ask all these our players who have played football before, whether they've played on any pitch at all with a concrete base. It's never done. So that is my takeaway from what the president said. If we're going to construct good surfaces for football development, then it must be good surfaces. It must be done well. We shouldn't do them just for political points. We must do them because we want people to develop their talent. To raise some money to take care of our heroes who sometimes have difficulty in sometimes taking care of their own medical expenses. Some of them, they can't even go to the hospital to have checkups.
Last week, the Ghana's Black Challenge paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Youth and Sports after winning the Amputee African Cup of Nations that was staged in Egypt. Well, following the visit, prior to visiting the sports minister, they had gone to see the former president of the country, John Dramani Mahama, who donated $10,000 to the team. Well, the sports minister asked the team to account for the money that they received from the former president and other people who had donated to them. Well, President of Ghana Amputee Football, Samson Dean, he says that they had wanted to visit the sports minister before going to see the former president, but the minister cancelled the appointment.
The blood donation exercise was in collaboration .
We had to move to the former president's office because the players had already been informed way before, 2 weeks ago, that the former president wanted to do a donation to them. And I had denied them that opportunity to go there first. But on this day, there was no way that as a leader of the team, I could say no. That is it. It was highly impossible at that time because the players were all at the office. They knew about this invitation 2 weeks ago. On 2 occasions, they were supposed to go, they were denied. But this day, they were all present. The media were there to move to the ministry. And we had a cancellation of the visit. And at this time, it was very difficult for anybody to say no, they were not supposed to go to the former president. But I do not think the trophy were presented to any other group of persons, with the exception of that of the former president. Noticeably, I think we had written to his office quite a longer time, from 31st of May, since the team arrived.
Now, let's talk about Black Stars striker, Bernard Tekpete. He and the Blood Bank organized a donation exercise, and my colleague Lawrence Bedu has the details of what transpired.
The blood donation exercise was in collaboration with the National Blood Bank. The donation exercise also saw the partnership with the Evelyn Atta Health Foundation, with the event taking place at the Athletic Oval of the University of Ghana on Saturday, June 15. The Ludogorets forward came up with the initiative through the Bernard Tekpete Foundation, which has overseen many projects in recent years as part of his desire to give back to his country. Speaking to Joy Sports, the Black Stars forward explained his rationale behind the exercise.
What led to this initiative? I saw a video circulating on the internet where the later one needed blood. They need blood to save this person going through surgery. So unfortunately, they couldn't get blood to save this person. It got me touched, and then I need to find ways and means to come out with something. So this is when I spoke with the CEO of the National Blood Service to have a collaboration with them to do this initiative to save someone's life. So all we are doing is to make an impact and to save someone's life. This is the most important thing for us.
In attendance at the event were personalities such as Belgium-based Ghanaian footballer David Atanga, as well as Joshua of the Keche fame. Evelyn Atta, who is the CEO of the Evelyn Atta Health Foundation, talked about the need for people to get involved in blood donation exercises more often.
So basically, every individual can donate blood between 3 months. 3 months interval, you can donate blood. When you donate the first one, let's say today, 3 months later, we assume you might have eaten well to replenish the lost nutrients. So by 3 months, you should be able to donate another blood. We need a lot of blood. That is why we encourage that as short as 3 months, individuals should be able to donate.
Tekpete enjoyed an incredible season with Ludogorets during the 2023-2024 season, where he scored 10 goals and registered 5 assists, as his side won the Bulgarian League as well as the Domestic Cup.
Residents of Konta, who are of multiple ethnic background, woke up this morning to the shocking news of the alleged slaughter of one of their own. Na Biango Kobena, the 62-year-old father of 6, was found lying at the veranda of the satellite office for the West East District Education Office, where he works as a night security. The incident drew a large crowd of residents and passers-by to the scene. They stood quiet, many with grim and bearded tears, whilst they kept vigil over the dozens of police detectives searching the body of the deceased and the crime scene. Walking few yards away from the scene of the crime is the 4th son of the alleged slain native of Keleu, Nabian Ezekiel Kojo. He is yet to come to terms with what transpired. He recounted his last meeting and words with his extrovert father.
Yesterday, Sunday was a Father's Day. They asked me about that and say, what celebration can we celebrate? So once he said that, I say, oh, what do you want? He asked me, he want one drink. So I bought a drink for him. I think that's the drink that I bought to him, and that's all.
So it means that those were your last moment with your father?
Of course.
Okay, now he's been stabbed to death. What do you want to be done?
Only God.
Welcome back on the AM show. We zoom into our big stories, and it takes us to the Upper West region, where we've had some of those horrific pieces of news emanating. Some security officers have been killed over time, and the latest we're hearing, another one has fallen. Only on Father's Day, just a few days ago, his son was interacting with him, and this is what has befallen him. But joining the conversation now, we have Dr. Victor Doki. He's a security analyst and lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Doc, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I am well. I hope you are too.
Good. By God's grace.
Right. And I'm here, of course, with my colleague, Sweetie Abochi. We'll both be posing questions to you. Now, just a quick assessment of the situation. This is not the first time. There have been numerous killings. Why it is targeted at security people, the elderly, and all of that is what many people don't understand. But there's a return to this situation in the Upper West region. What is your understanding of what is happening? What are the fundamentals we should be looking at?
Right. Thank you very much. Good morning to you. Now, from the narration, what I've seen, it's more of a question that comes to mind. With these two security men, is it that they were trying to prevent...
Dr. Doki, could you please speak up a bit for us? We're struggling.
Can you hear me now?
Better.
Yes. So what comes to mind, first of all, is the question being asked, what exactly is the reason why these two security officers, private security officers, would be targeted? Is it the issue about they preventing some people from having access to where they have been designated to protect, or what exactly is the problem? Now, this brings to the wider question as to why this sort of killings are happening at this critical moment. So then, we need to look at how we can foster a sense of community coherence. Right now, what I mean is, how can we put together some sort of community watchdog that would also facilitate and enhance security, not only on these private security personnel, but when you have a collective security sense, then now you can tackle these miscreants or criminals who want to engage in this petty criminal activities and endangering the lives of these innocent people. So holistically, I think the Ghana Police Service should come in and then map up some sort of strategy and then involve the communities in engaging. They can revive their community policing mechanisms if they need to, and enhance the education and sensitization for the people in the area to know that collectively, security is a collective agenda. It's not only left to a private citizen or a group of people or security watchmen.
Right. Dr. Doki, just hold for me. I'll come back to you on a number of issues. But we also have Rashid Pelpuo, Honorable Rashid Pelpuo of the Northern Caucus joining the conversation. Mr. Pelpuo, a very good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
I know the morning is technically not that good because of what we are discussing. But from where you sit, as a member of the Northern Caucus, and these happenings, not the first time, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, not the fifth, what do you make of these developments vis-a-vis security in the area and the work of the Ghana Police Service?
Well, I think that there is a problem we need to solve, which might not necessarily be emanating from within. I have a very strong suspicion that some characters have moved into this place, people who don't share the same religion and faith with us, who believe that by killing a human being and taking part of his body, the fellow can be rich or can have some kind of power. And so they have gotten themselves engaged in this, not necessarily because they are doing so as a terrorist organization, but because they believe in something that we don't understand, and that so the thorough investigation by the police should take into consideration the thinking of people, what they make of religion, what they make of the belief in themselves, and all that. It's a very terrible situation, and it's a hurting situation. Many of us cannot live in peace with a situation where you know a fellow human being is being killed, his tongue is taken, his eyes are taken off, or his genitals are taken off. And you don't understand, because these are not people who have existing quarrels with people. This is not a situation where conflict has arisen because somebody has done something, or some people have done something which results in a retaliatory attack and all that. So I believe that we have to enlarge the investigation. We have to make it more qualitative. The police have to set up more thoroughly. The situation where they say they have arrested one or two people, they are being investigated, and the next moment there's nobody in jail and nobody is being investigated, and the must stop. The investigation must continue even 5 years, and there must be an intentional guidance to prevent a situation like this occurring. We are worried because it doesn't appear that the Interior Minister is showing enough commitment. I'm talking about Interior Ministry as a collective entity, and not just an individual involved, because there was a different Interior Minister and there's an existing Interior Minister now.
Right.
That ministry appears to be dormant, ineffective, and does not show enough commitment to what is happening.
Right.
The police themselves don't seem to be so committed to people and coming up with confidence that they guard and secure environment for us.
Right. My colleague will be coming in shortly, but just to clarify, when you look at the situation of the 62-year-old killed at the WA Model Basic School, he is said to have been murdered, burnt, and buried in the school compound. And there was a search for his body. The regional minister, Stephen Yakubu, made mention of the fact that he was hit and all of that. No body parts were taken from him, though I know there are two in this instance. But my question is, with what you said earlier, are you then hinting at the fact that, per what information you have, these acts are being perpetrated by foreigners or people who are non-indigent? Is that what intel you have picked?
It's very much close to that. People have lived for hundreds of years. We've never had this situation. You go to one, every suburb is shocked about what is happening. Everybody is asking the question, who is involved in this? And if it were part of the lives of people, then you know that this is an emerging trend that is capitalized on some aspects of our life. You don't see it happening. It never has been a situation like that in the lives of the people. And then all of a sudden, it's happening. Now, I'm imagining that if it is an indigent, the indigent may have gone to learn something from somewhere and may have come with people who are also who are following that line of thought. If it is an external person, it's very easy for the person to come and live with the people for some time and then begin to behave in that manner. Anybody else can be a suspect in this matter, including the indigents. I'm not excluding anybody because once such a thing has happened, we don't exclude anybody at all, except that our search must take some indication and then spread out into the nitty-gritty. Let me tell you, there was a situation in which some Nigerian Igbos living in somebody's house attempted to kill a person and he was crying. The landlady heard it from her bedroom after 12 midnight, walked into that place, and then she too was arrested by the same people. And somebody observing from another room had to call the police immediately. When the police came, the people had climbed into the ceiling of the house they were living in, the room they were doing the act. And then when the police came, they didn't find them, so they opened fire into the ceiling. Two people fell from the ceiling. I wish that these people could have just been arrested and investigated. It would have helped in knowing exactly the mindset of the people who are doing the psychology,
right,
the act,
right,
and what exactly is happening. Having said this, I'm not saying that these are people who we suspect. We have lots of people moving from Nigeria
Honorable Felpo, we're losing you. We're losing you a bit. But just right on that point, if you could just move a bit and speak up for us. We're losing you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, just wrap on that point.
Yeah, so I'm saying that we may have to investigate the newcomers into the region and find out whether some clue can be found in what the jobs they are doing and all that. It will help in finalizing who can be a suspect in this matter.
Mr. Bopio, because you're talking about these foreigners, this is Sweetie speaking now. I just want to stay on this for a bit, and I don't mean to speculate, but just for clarity. Do you think that this has anything to do with the influx of foreigners fleeing violence in our neighboring countries?
It's a very high possibility, especially some kind of unusual killings of this nature. I don't think that in any part of the northern region, you can have people killed and their bodies used for anything at all. It's very foreign to the people. And especially in Wa, it's thoroughly a foreign thing. You can't have somebody killing another because he wants to do medicine with his body or part of his body. It's very, very foreign. So being a foreign kind of act, it's important to strengthen your investigation along those lines, apart from the fact that you have a general investigation on everybody who is a likely suspect. But I suppose that should also be looked at. Having said this, it's important for us to still keep our Ghanaians, that we allow everybody to come into this country. We are at the center of freedom and center of uniting Africa, so we don't care when people come in. So We only want to insist that they should obey our laws and respect the tenets of our institutions.
All right, let me move to Dr. Victor Doki now. Doc, does this come as a surprise to you that Mr. Pelpio is saying that this crime could not be carried out by an indigent or residents or people who've been there for a while, but foreigners? Does this come as a surprise to you? How do you receive such information?
From the Honorable's narration, we are looking at, he's looking at the two sides, foreigners and then probably indigents, but highly the probability of foreigners. But let's look at it this way. Now, when you even have the influx of asylum seekers, now let's take the process for which these asylum seekers entered into the host community. Now, you would have that the security agencies who are receiving them, the Ghana Refugee Board, the UNHCR, would have done a proper screening. Screening, by that I mean, to identify all those individuals who may have had an alliance or allegiance with any armed group who would want to come into the country. Now, those people, when they are found out, are separated from the main people seeking asylum because of the security implications. Now, if you have porous borders and then you have some elements coming in, it is highly possible that some of these elements coming in may perpetrate certain crimes, okay? But largely, let's hope that the screening, the security measures were put in place and these asylum seekers were coming in, okay, safe and sound. Now, most of them may have had relatives in the host community, so they wouldn't like to live in Central Point, the camp, or if I should put it that way. So you can have one or two people in the host communities that are not identified or accounted for. It's likely that some may have engaged in confrontations with the host community over resources, because let's not forget, now when you have influx of people coming in, there is pressure on the resources already in the system. Right. So now it creates some sort of tensions and then it can lead to conflict. It may be that particular case, but I will not also rule out that this could have been done by an indigent. Maybe they have a personal score to settle, or due to some criminal tendencies the person may have had, and then out of confrontation, earlier on I stated probably they wanted to have access to the facility or anything for that matter. This elderly man wanted to prevent, and it resulted in that case. So we're looking at it from all angles and not just singling out the cause.
Okay. The MC for WA joins us now, Tahiru Isaku Mumin. And Tahiru, thanks for joining the program. This morning, first of all, how's the atmosphere in the districts this morning? And have any suspects been apprehended yet?
Good morning. Let me say that what happened a day ago was nothing good to write home about. And we are all saddened about it. The traditional authority within the municipality about what. But what I show you morning at the municipality.
Mr. Momin, your connection is not that good. If you could just move a bit and speak up for us. So let's try this again. Hello, Mr. Momin.
Yes.
Your connection was a bit patchy. I think it's better now. Please go ahead.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that the municipality is very peaceful this morning. There are no signs of violence or attacks on anything. And the streets are very close to operating struggle.
Mr. Momin, you're talking about struggle. We're also struggling to hear you. But if you can, if you get my question, you say the place is peaceful and all of that. But just a few days ago, this community was thrown into a state of fear, panic, and this is not the first time something like this is happening. So when you say the place is peaceful and all of that, is it a reflection of how the people are feeling currently? And you might want to tell us about the MUSEC, for example, the Municipal Security Council, and what you've done so far in respect of these killings.
I said the place is peaceful on the back of what happened the last time. You know, this is the second time that an incident of this nature occurred in the municipality. And the first time it occurred 2 years ago, some group of people were accused. And then the youth and another group of people massed up to attack that group of people as perpetrators of that crime. But this time, the information and education given out by Musa together with Rexed, have informed the indigents and the people that there is no any particular group who is the suspect on this particular matter. Therefore, they shouldn't go out to attack anybody. And that is why the municipality is still calm. But that is not to say that there is no apprehension, in the minds and hearts of people in the municipality, because there was certainly security breaches somewhere. And then any right-thinking person would have to be concerned about your personal security and that of the municipality. That one, we cannot rule it. But what I can assure you is that the Regional Security Council, together with the Municipal Security Council, are taking some steps to make sure that the perpetrators are brought to book.
What steps?
Such occurrences
what
never
steps?
Occurred, again.
Mr. Moment, what steps?
Well, this is a security matter, and for what I have been told by the regional minister and the regional police command, the ID is sending a team to come once again to assist us to unravel the mystery behind it. Let me tell you that this particular matter, I don't identify a particular group as a suspect. I heard people talking about foreigners, but for me, I don't want to believe that one. So I have to say that no one should be ruled out of this matter as a suspect. Everyone, including the indigents, should be a target for us to unravel the matter. Because when we begin to mention foreigners, more or less, we restrict the frontiers of investigation, taking off the indigents. And right now, as we speak, I cannot rule out the fact that people within the municipality and the region are also collaborators of...
Mr. Moment, I don't think anyone mentioning foreigners is saying so categorically. My guests, one a security analyst, the other one a member of parliament, as a member of the Northern Caucus, they are merely saying that it could be that with terrorist activity and everything in the sub-region, some people could infiltrate for whatever nefarious reasons. Or it also could be ritualists, people who do this, take parts and all of that, though we know that at least in one instance, no body parts were taken. So it's a mixture. I would just ask you this. You say some security assistance has come. Police officers, how many are we looking at? And how is the police collaborating with the people in the community to ensure their safety? Because the police at some point may move away. And then it is usually in such instances that these things happen. So what exactly can you say on that?
Well, there's a security strategy, there's a plan, drawn by the police and others that said, video for the setup. But what I say is that it's done. And the numbers that are not used, the numbers from us, that is closed front. But then we have assurance that technical.
We're losing you a bit. You say you have what? Just move a bit for me. I'm sorry about this. But you say you have something.
I said I can assure you that what the police is doing or the plan that they put in place is effective enough to assist. However, I cannot tell you exactly what it is because some of the information is not meant for public consumption. Because, as I said, one is suspected. So any little information that goes out is more likely to affect the security strategy of the police and other security agencies. So that is why I'm not able to tell you exactly what police and other security agencies are doing now. What I'm assuring you is that something will be done because
I just have a simple add-on to sometimes when we have these conversations, I have my own learnings in security and all of that. Sometimes we hide behind the cloak of, oh, it's a security matter, I can't expose this and that. We're not asking you to talk about core security details, where people will move, when they will move, and all of that. But some of the details to actually People resident in your municipality are watching us this morning, and they want some confidence so that they can be at peace. If this were to happen in my community, I would sleep uneasily. You know, so those are some of the questions we sometimes ask. But every time it is, oh, and I can't talk too much about, which adds very little to the conversation.
Yes, I'm not in any way trying to run away from the question, but what I can tell you, we have already mapped out a strategy, and the whole municipality is zoned now into smaller units, and officers, and including indigents of certain caliber, people that we trust, are working with the police and the other security agencies in the municipality. And the military has also come to join. So everybody in the security setup knows that something is being done. And we were on the radio stations to inform the general public what we are doing and what we expect from them as well, in case the people are still within, so that the lives can be saved. So for that one, we have done it yesterday, and this morning we are continuing, to assure the public and then also to tell them what they should be doing and what they can do to assist the police and what they can do to assist other security agencies while the underground work and then other security actions are being taken in the municipality.
All right. Thank you, Tairu Isaku-Mumin. That's the MC for a while. Let me come back to Dr. Victor Doki. Doc, what would you say should we be doing, as going forward to prevent future occurrences of these terrible incidents? And then you can add your final words to your submission.
Okay. So I go back to my earlier point that I raised that on community policing, because the colleague raised a very pertinent issue concerning the police leaving at some point. Very true. So how do you sustain that atmosphere of security? Now, let's go to the basics of community policing. If we need to now start, right, and then engage the community, the elders, the chiefs, and then get some volunteers who would go through some requisite training about basic security and enhancing the welfare of the community, we need to do that. Because when the police leaves, then the people will now be feeling somewhat insecure because they may think it will happen again. So let's go back to the basics of community policing. Let's enhance the involvement of civil society, and then we can sensitize, right, and educate the people on what to report on in case they see anything.
Right.
If they are suspicious of any movement or individuals in the town, they should quickly report to the police and not take the law into their own hands. Now, what I would add on is, this is very unfortunate. Now, let's hope that the investigations are quickly done, and that we know, I should think by now, there are some questions, and then engagement with the community with regards to who may have had some engagements with this gentleman at the last moment, and then we know where to start the investigations from. So I'm pleading with the police, the investigative department, to speed up their investigations, and then the culprits can be apprehended.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Victor Doki. Now, Mr. Rashid Popio, would you say that these 9 security men are well equipped to fight off or even engage these criminals in an incident like we've seen? I mean, and then you can also add your final words to it, because these are the people who are being targeted, security personnel. Are they well equipped to handle issues like this?
Oh, definitely no. The people who are killed are normally security men whose only weapons are their bodies. And besides that, the police who go after them do not seem to be well equipped technically and with the needed equipment. What we see in foreign countries from movies and from reports coming out into the scene shows that we are not equipped enough. Our police is not equipped enough to be able to investigate and be able to track down these murderers. And that's a big problem. So I will advocate that we have specially trained people sent to work to investigate this and to point out leads into how these people can be arrested. For the kind of police we are doing now, it doesn't look like we are prepared for, thorough investigations into issues like this, which is internal and which is very, very sophisticated. We don't have that sophistication at all.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rashid Popio, who's the leader of the Northern Caucus in Parliament. Benjamin.
Well, it's been quite a conversation, and it's rather disheartening. Yeah. But let's get more from Rafiq Salam, our Upper West regional correspondent. He's been our man on the ground. Rafiq, what else can you report? The MCE, Mr. Tahir Momin, is saying that some calm has been restored. But you've been engaging members of the community. What have they been telling you? What can you share with us?
I will tell you that there's uneasy calm in Wa following the incident yesterday. The people are really not happy about the way things are panning out. References have also been made to a couple of years ago when this incident came into the scene, and they are wondering whether that issue has fallen back into the Wala community. What the people are also saying that yes, they have seen lots of policemen and also the security agencies are trying to do investigation into the issue. But where will it end? A couple of years ago, the people were promised by the security agencies, led by the National Security Minister himself, Ken Dapa, telling the whole world that they have finished with their investigations, and also they will even name and shame the people who were involved in this act. But up to now, we haven't heard the Interior Minister again talking about, the National Security Minister talking about it again. So the people think that, yes, this one is a knee-jerk reaction from the security agencies, and then they will want them to up the ante and also tell the community where the information, where they have gone to, who are the perpetrators of this heinous crime. But one other issue that the people are also looking at is that you asked a question to Rashid Belko regarding whether the people are really equipped to defend themselves or to man some of these places. If you watch the people, the kind of people that have been suspected murdered, the age group is above 50 years of age. These are people who are not even strong enough. The man who was killed around Konta is about 62 years of age. He has nothing to protect himself. And according to the preliminary investigation, it showed that a big stone, was thrown to his head, and also later he was slaughtered. So that's one area that the security agencies, that people would like them to look into. Because the other issue has to deal with these private security men. Where do they stay? A case, again, is a satellite office of the East Office at Konta. The security man slept on the veranda. This security man doesn't have a place to sleep in. They only sleep at verandas. And so because of that, they are vulnerable. So these are areas that the people want them to look at. And I spoke with the minister yesterday, and he said that these are issues that they are going to look into. And even they are going to even hold meetings with proprietors of various schools in the one municipality to see the way forward.
Rafiq, we're grateful for the input, and we'll keep tabs on the issue through you, of course. We're grateful that you took the time to join us. That's our Upper West regional correspondent, Rafiq Salam. Quite the conversation, makes for very, very disheartening review this morning, but something that hopefully the perpetrators will be apprehended. But coming up on the AM show, the recent Bank of Ghana 2023 annual financial statement has confirmed that 11 licensed fintech companies provided inward remittance services to customers. The total value of remittances received in 2023 summed up to about 5.7 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to about $5 billion compared to 18 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to about 3 billion in 2022. That is in dollar terms. Is Ghana feeling the impact of all these remittances, and are there any challenges in the tracking of same to ensure the economy actually benefits? We'll be taking a look at that later on the show. In fact, that comes up shortly. Do stay. Welcome back. Now, to deliberate on this issue of remittances, the inflow, and what exactly is happening in between, and whether we are getting the true values that are being reported, we have Dr. Richmond Atuahene. He joins me in the studio. He's a corporate governance and banking consultant. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, too.
I was just teasing him before we got on that. I remember the last conversation we had and how he was spitting fire all over the place. But let's quickly take a look at some of the details in respect of Ghana's remittances, inward remittances. So very quickly, if you look at that chart, Ghana's missing $1 billion. That's the question. Now, the Bank of Ghana on remittances says, quote, current transfers largely comprising private remittances recorded a net inflow of $3.93 billion in 2023 compared with $3.57 billion at net flow in 2022. It also says the relative stability in the exchange market in 2023 was due to improved inflows from the first tranche of the IMF ECF and then the domestic gold purchase program remittances and foreign exchange purchases from mining and oil companies, as well as tight monetary policy. So that's the reason they give in there. But if you look at the question of the missing dollars vis-a-vis the schedule of earnings from dealer commercial banks for the half years ended 30th June 2023 and 30th June 2022, you would see some discrepancy there. So if you look at half year one, which is 2022, you would see $934.5 million. But you come to half year 2023 and you're looking at $1.3 billion. That's an upward trend of about $300+ million, almost 350, thereabouts, $350+ million. But how does it compare when you look at it vis-a-vis World Bank data? So Bank of Ghana, what it says, and the World Bank, what it says. You would notice that the Bank of Ghana data is the one in violet or purple, and the World Bank data is the one in green. Now look at the trend. The Bank of Ghana's data, 1.8 billion in dollar terms, shoots up to 10.7 billion in 2017. And then since that time, there was a decline between 2017 and 2018 to 1 billion. And that decline has increased only marginally. So 2 billion in 2019, 2.3 billion in 2020, 2.1 billion in 2021, and same figure in 2022. So some sort of stagnation. But interestingly, when you look at the World Bank data, you would find that when we were reporting 1.8 billion, they were reporting 3 billion. When we were reporting about 10.7 billion, they were reporting about 3.5 billion. And that trend has continued. So 3.5, 4.1, 4.3, 4.5, and 4.7. The question is, where lies the discrepancies? Why are there these discrepancies? Are there some that are going underreported or completely unreported? Now, again, the BOG says, in 2023, 11 licensed fintech companies provided inward remittance services to customers. The total value of remittances received in 2023 was 57 billion Ghana cedis compared to 18 billion Ghana cedis in 2022. What happened in between? That's an adjustment of over 30 billion Ghana cedis. And according to the Foreign Exchange Act 2006, it goes on and on different sections. All authorized dealer banks must comply with all the sections of the Foreign Exchange Act 2006, Act 723. But is that happening? That's the question. Is that happening? If you look at the IAS 21, it outlines how to account for foreign currency transactions and operations in financial statements, and also how to translate financial statements into a presentation of currency. So we'll get you more details on that. But to address some of these discrepancies and everything in between, Dr. Atuahene is here to give us enlightenment. Any surprises? Around 18 billion Ghana cedis, all of a sudden we are jumping to 50+ billion, 57 billion to be exact. What exactly happened?
Thank you very much. I think I'll first start with the data shown on the World Bank and the Bank of Ghana audited accounts by the Auditor General. We have been underreporting for a long time. And I think what has made these figures that you're talking about, 57 billion, quite astronomical is that it means that we have two system reporting. We have the banks who are supposed to report on remittances, which actually reflect on what the Bank of Ghana reported. And then we have,
which the law requires them to do.
Yeah, the law, according to the Foreign Exchange Act, 2006-723 is mandated for all authorized dealer bank to report all foreign exchange transactions, including remittances.
Right.
So the authorized dealer banks under the foreign exchange have been reporting for Bank of Ghana to be able to capture it in the report. However, when you come to what the Bank of Ghana audited account 203, that is where I have a little bit challenge.
You mean 2023?
2023, yeah.
Yeah.
Because in that space, it said 53 billion cedis. You know, remittances doesn't come in cedis.
Exactly.
It doesn't come in cedis.
They come in foreign currency.
It comes in foreign currency.
But we pay out
and then we translate it in cedis. That is why we talk about the IAS 21. All foreign exchange must be translated into the local currency to be captured. That is what you say the IAS 20, International Accounting Standard 21.
21, yeah.
That is, it makes you. But unfortunately, when you look at the Bank of Ghana published account, the audited account published in 2003, the foreign currency is silent. So the question that we want to ask, are other people holding on the foreign exchange? When we are looking for foreign exchange all over the place, we are going to Bahamas, asking for 1-point-something billion. We are asking the IMF to give us 360 million. If we have all these remittances, at least even 5 billion, let's forget about 2022. I believe the CD would have stabilized.
Now, the current IMF program we're under, how much are we getting in total? 6 billion.
Yes.
Now, if last year alone, the remittances that came in
to the fintech,
through the fintechs, if the sum is about 5+ billion. I see where you are going. In dollar or pound or euro terms put together, something doesn't add up, right?
It is far more exceedingly above. And I believe that I would urge the Minister of Finance and even plead with the World Bank and the IMF country directors to look at this thing for us. Because you see, we are not in a global world. Let me tell you a story. Bangladesh have inflows about 21.9 billion this year. What have they done? They have enhanced the methodology by which these dollars are tracked, captured, traced, and they all dovetail into the central banking system. So that the central bank is always, has got foreign exchange. I mean, our competitors in Sri Lanka, who are also facing the same challenge, they depend so much on remittances that every month they are getting over $400 million to support the currency. But in our case, what is happening is that part of the foreign exchange is somewhere, the banks are reporting genuinely according to the Foreign Exchange Act, and then we get the fintech who has just been licensed since 2019, who are not actually accounting for these foreign exchange. So my question is that to avoid these discrepancies and misreporting, I think a time has come for us to look at the Foreign Exchange Act and make sure that everybody reports. What we can do, what we used to do earlier, when we have the Western Union, when we have the MoneyGram, when we have the Royal MoneyGram, what they do is that there is an arrangement to pay commission for them to collect all these data and bring the money to the banking system, say ADB.
Right.
ADB gets the Western Union money, then importers can go there and get money to buy. I mean, I've done it before in the bank. I bought 28 billion to import oil when I was in a bank.
Wow.
Yes. That is why the remittances are so crucial. And don't forget, currently, remittances is bigger than cocoa.
True.
Remittances is bigger than
many
gold.
sectors.
Yes. So if other countries, and we in the whole world, we are in Africa, we are the next to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Nigeria is expected to get 28 billion. Yeah. And last year we were expected to get about 7.2 billion.
Right.
But even if you add the banks and what the fintechs, I'm not sure we are close to the amount of money. And people are traveling all over, migrants all over the world. And I believe that a time has come for us to be very proactive, to track, trace, and capture all these foreign exchange. If we do that, the cedi will stabilize. Our current account deficit position would improve. And the exchange rate will not be, the cedi will not be drifting like that.
Of course, why our cedi always flip-flops is because once there's a scarcity of the dollar, then, demand and supply challenges. And then our currency begins to depreciate. There are other factors, of course. But having said that, are you saying then that these fintechs are seemingly operating outside of IAS 21 or its requirements? No. And in that case, whatever you say, who benefits if these sums of money come into the country and are unaccounted for?
Well, that is the true reflection of the cedi depreciating. Because if the dollar, all these equivalent of the 5 billion, has dovetailed into the banking system, the cedi will stabilize. The Bank of Ghana will have more reserves so that we will not have the pain that we are going through at the moment. Now what they did in 2019 Act 987, the Payment Service and Settlement Act, which brought in this fintech, they have been licensed. But when it comes to the accountability of the foreign exchange, as the banks are doing, they are not doing it. So I'm saying that we can't have two teams in the same field, one playing according to one regulations, one playing according to one rules. I believe we should all stick to the Foreign Exchange Act 2006-723 and make sure that we comply with all the 22 sections so that everybody would have to come on board so that the dollar or the pound, the euro, will be dovetailed into the banking system.
But when you say that, then it means some people are not complying. But the Bank of Ghana is supposed to regulate all of this, right?
Yes, under the Payment and Service Act, which they passed in 2019, they're supposed to be regulated. But you see, it was silent about how these foreign money would dovetail into our foreign exchange. Unlike the Foreign Exchange Act, it is so specific that no bank, it says, let me say it, it said authorized dealer banks and Bank of Ghana. They were the only people who are supposed to deal with our foreign exchange. Then came in the Payment Service Act, but it was silent about the accountability of the Foreign Exchange Act. So I believe it is never too late. At least 2022, 18 billion, maybe 3 billion, 18 billion cedis, translated into 3 billion. I mean, 2023 is about, according to the Bank of Ghana policy, 57. I think some people are benefiting from the foreign exchange. And I believe the state, the country, should be all up and doing to be able to track, trace, and capture all foreign exchange.
Now, this doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Ghana is on the ropes.
Doesn't make sense.
Where we've submitted a program that the IMF is, overseeing for us. We're in dire straits. Our exchange rate is bad. Which country, logically, would do what we are doing? Which brings me back to the point. If it doesn't make sense, there's probably something in there. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, flies like a duck, it probably is a duck. So the question is, who is likely benefiting from all of this? Well, because they come in, people complain. Maybe I get a remittance. You're giving me cedis, and you're giving me a poor rate. Okay? You're not giving me the dollars or euros or pounds. So where is that going? Who is likely benefiting from this?
I mean, those new licensed institutions, I can say it from the Bank of Ghana report, the new licensed institutions are benefiting as against the previous practice where the authorized dealer banks have this money to support the economy. It doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense because when I read the law, I have read all the Payment Service Act, I've read all the Foreign Exchange Act, and I ask myself, how on earth you are looking for 3 billion for a program, and then you are allowing some people to withhold over 5 billion only for this year, equivalent? I mean, I don't understand.
Well, that would be the portion of the 5 billion that goes to the fintechs and not through the traditional.
No, the traditional
banks.
People have submitted their report.
Exactly. But I'm saying that, I mean, the ones that go. Is that to say the fintechs don't submit a report? They do, right?
What is it? It is not about submitting of the report. It's the accountability of what we call the nostril balances, the foreign exchange balances you trade up. Because those who brought in the money, they brought in foreign exchange.
Right.
And then you will sit here and give me cedis. And let me tell you, Mr. Kapo, I think it's not the first time we have done it. We've done it when I was in a bank. There was an arrangement between Western Union, MoneyGram, and Royal, where a certain commission will go to those institutions, and then the rest of the foreign exchange would now be transferred into the either central bank or ADB or SSB, those days SGS, so that they will support the economy. So what I'm saying is that we need to streamline it. I mean, exactly 10 years ago, let me bring you to speed. 10 years ago, there was something that happened in the foreign exchange market. I was invited. I've forgotten those who hosted the program. That was radio. And after speaking on this, people got to know that there was something wrong. Because people who had dollars under the FCA account, foreign exchange account, were supposed to go and collect cedis. And I say, no, if you have told me earlier, that is 2014. If you have told me earlier, I would not have deposited my foreign currency with a bank because there is no law that stopped FSA or FCA.
Right.
So when they did it, I came to the studio and I explained, because a lot of people don't seem to understand this fintech 57 billion. A lot of people don't even appreciate that there is a foreign exchange act which everybody, every institution is accountable. And there is one section, section 15. It says that if we will hold a certain foreign exchange, you can go for prison for 10 years. I didn't say it. It is the law. So I believe that the playing field must be leveled for both the fintech and the authorized dealer bank so that these dollars or euro or pound or kwacha or rand would all come into the system to support the economy. That is why I'm so...
So you're basically saying that for the traditional banks, when they mop up these dollars, euros, Swiss francs, rand, and everything, they submit reports on that, so they forward that to the central bank.
Exactly. You're right.
But with these fintechs, there's no traceability, there's no tracking. We only take their word for it. Basically, that's what you're saying.
Exactly. I can confirm what you're saying.
You know what would be interesting?
Yes.
To find out who is behind some of these fintechs.
Well,
the people, and I'm not saying one person, but I'm asking who are behind these fintechs.
There are 11
that will answer some of the questions.
Yeah, there are 11 institutions that has been. It is the governor. Is the statement. 11 licensed institutions, and I'm saying who I know it.
Who licensed them?
No, I know the institutions because you see, I've done a paper.
I mean, we don't have to mention them.
No, I won't mention their name. I have published an international paper on the Journal of Social Sciences. Ghana's bankers' remittances, issues and challenges. It was published recently and that is where I got much interested in investigating more into the remittances. That is how, when I saw the Bank of Ghana statement, that 57 billion, I said, look, this thing validates and confirm my statement. So now the question for us all as a nation, why do we do harm to ourselves?
Are you suggesting that the central bank in itself, whether through actions or inactions, is causing harm, maybe even financial loss?
Well, from the figures that is in front of me, if you ask me, then I can confirm it. Because you see, even the publication...
So that is a yes?
Yes. Even in the publication of the account. That is why I find it quite unbelievable. IAS, International Accounting Standard, 21 says that all foreign exchange should be translated. But when you go into the Bank of Ghana account, you only find cedis. So you don't even know the foreign currency that was translated into, unless you use the closing rate, which I used. The closing rate at that time, I told 11 point something. So I ended up in 5 billion. Because ideally, and also the auditors who did that should also be asked to be questioned. Because in all international practices, all best practices, IAS 21 must say the value of the foreign exchange that was translated into cedis. No, if it's not done, that accounting firm hasn't done his job totally.
And the question is how this has been allowed to go on for so long, and if it has gone on for so long, what the watchdog, the regulator, was doing in between, for which reason you say the Bank of Ghana is culpable, and what has happened in between. How much have we lost as a country?
Exactly.
Only God
God
knows.
As we sit here, I'm only calculating the 57. And the 22, they actually, I don't know what's happened.
I have seen reports in the past that suggest that we could have earned so much more and that we've lost many billions to this. What is your guesstimate?
Well, if you're not tracing and capturing, what we call track tracing and capturing, you're going to lose it. You see, and we're not the only country in the world. That is, I find it quite unbelievable. I find it unbelievable. Remittances has been some of one of the key components of balance sheet composition.
Yeah.
And under the IMF publication, they call BPM 7 or 8, you are required to capture this in your final year statement. But it's only the banking sector. The banks who send a report under the Foreign Exchange Act will be captured. I didn't see it in the fintech in the 2022. I didn't see it in the 2023. So somebody somewhere should be able to tell me, as I'm speaking to you, I want somebody to react, to tell me that what I'm saying is not true. And then he should justify where the foreign exchange is. Act, where the foreign exchange 5 billion, as I'm just calculating in the 3 billion Act. So
where is it sitting?
Where is it?
And why is our currency facing the hurdles it is? But do you think that maybe something is being done right, which is why we moved from 18 billion and now we've jumped over 30 billion to 57 billion? Do you think something, it's about almost 39 billion added on, has something changed?
What has changed is that they're now using these blockchains and the fintech.
Right.
Immediately, you get your city. But you see, when you get your city, Ben, nobody is tracking who is holding the dollar. Whether it's these companies in UK or America who have actually been strategized with what we call the strategic alliance with some of these institutions that has been licensed, who they use their technology. Technology is effective because even in governor's statement, the statement he proved, he said innovative. Innovative. He said it's been very innovative. Innovation does not mean that you circumvent the law.
Right.
You don't circumvent the Foreign Exchange Act 2006-723. My worry is that why do we have two teams playing in the same area with different regulations and different rules? So that is my only concern. If somebody can tell me that what I'm saying is not true, I'll then let him bring down the figures and tell me where do we find this fintech money in the Ghana balance sheet.
So where does the accountability lie? Finance Ministry, Central Bank, where does the accountability lie?
It starts from the Finance Ministry because there's no Bank of Ghana supervisor, it's the Finance Ministry. So I'm saying that the Finance Ministry and Bank of Ghana should either revisit this issue. Can't we use what is using in Bangladesh? You can use it. Bangladesh, about 90% of remittances go through the banking system. They use the fintech, but the fintechs have been done in such a way that the banks have actually collaborated, what we call strategic alliance.
So there's a nexus.
So that's right. So that this money comes into the system. But unfortunately, if you license them outside or you're not regulating them and you think that they can do ta-ta-ta, but nobody is accounting for the currency, that is where my worry is. And I'm urging them, and I'm even pleading using your platform, as I did in 2014. I pleaded with the IMF representative in Ghana, World Bank representative in Ghana, that they should listen to me. I'm saying somebody should listen to me because it is quite disheartening. City is running like Usain Bolt, where we could have even supported the city, and the city could have been, as Bloomberg said, currently it says is it not the fourth worst currency in Africa?
I mean, we've moved from at a point, even in the world, only the Sri Lanka.
Where remittances alone
was
I believe remittances bigger than cocoa, bigger than gold. If we capture it, trace it very well, I think all these hardships we're going through, we wouldn't experience it. Because Ben, let me tell you, Raymond, let me tell you, I have bought 28 billion to support oil from ADB in 2007.
So you've done it before?
I've seen it before. You see, the thing that I'm saying, I am a practitioner. And Ben, let me tell you, I am the only person who has published a finance of international trade in Ghana, and I've been teaching this subject before I came on retirement. So when it comes to international trade, and don't forget, when Ghana was setting the export program in the 80s, I was one of the officers who did the pineapple export. So my heart is for export. And my heart is for remittance.
Let me just do this as we wrap the conversation. So this one says, Frederick Asenso-Reku says, what is the full name of Dr. Atuahene? I'll be glad to know in order to read his paper on Ghana's remittances. It's Dr. Richmond Atuahene. He's a corporate governance and banking consultant. And in fact, his book, you can grab a copy, Finance of International Trade. Finance of International Trade.
And the journal is Journal of Social Sciences.
Journal of Social Sciences.
If you go there, you'll see my article, well published. And all these issues are there already.
So just key in Journal of Social Sciences, key in Dr. Richmond Atuahene, and I'm sure you'll get his work there. Two quick questions before we go. How do we realign the system? How do we streamline the system to make it as efficient, as effective as the Bangladeshis and maybe even the Vietnams and others are doing? And I want you to quickly add, when you're done, Ghana's banking sector cleanup. Just quickly on that. Has it yielded the sort of returns we want? That'll be the final bit because you're a banking consultant.
Let me finish with the foreign exchange.
Yeah.
I think, like in a good book, we've been knocked down, but not destroyed. We may have made a mistake. But that is not the only way. Because if you look at the migrants who have left the shore of Ghana, the foreign exchange, if we do very well with our foreign exchange with remittances, I don't think we'll be able to help us to pay some of our debts.
True.
So I believe that we should learn from the best practices. And I always pick the Sri Lanka and Bangladeshi.
Right.
Let people travel what I'm saying to go and confirm that what I'm saying is wrong. If it's right, they are capturing all these, tracing, tracking, and capturing.
Right.
And it all comes into the pool to help the central bank and the banks.
Right.
Now, on the banking sector.
And of course, recently GN Bank, Papokosi Indum has been calling for, and all of that. Some are also lambasting him for holding their money. Quick thoughts on that. 1 minute. Let's go.
Thank you very much. I mean, I would start from the historical antecedent. You know, this issue of banking crisis, I think if you understand the historical antecedent, you appreciate it. It was in the IMF country report 2014-2015 that some of the banks are almost gone.
Right.
They should be able to clear it. However, at that time, we didn't summon courage. We didn't summon courage. And when the new government came, she also summoned the courage, but you didn't think through thoroughly. Because you see, let me give you this information. Currently, they said government is owing 35 billion to contractors and owing 1.6 billion to energy sector. If you convert the energy, and that is close to 60 billion. If the same one government is owing 60 billion and the bank is going down, and then you think that bank is not performing well, part of the problem is if you pay them.
Exactly.
If you pay them, like NIB, if they pay NIB 2.3 billion, as the minister said, NIB will be solvent.
Yeah.
So if Papa Kwesindum was saying this, I was saying that if he had done a contract.
And he was talking about over 7 billion.
And if he had been paid the 7 billion, I'm not sure the bank. So you see, the project was good, but the nuances of the project, we didn't let it thoroughly.
I guess it speaks to many things that this administration has done. Some good things, but the implementation is where the devil is.
No, at times some of the things are good. I mean, let me tell you, they have supported some. You know, I was going to talk about this export thing. You see, they have supported some. You see, we are going to after African continental trade. Have you ever asked those who come to your program, what are we taking there? Yeah. I'm telling you, the only place that they have actually done for us is the pharmaceutical. Go to the pharmaceutical. When we go into the after, I think I'll take my hat off for these people. I mean, look at Magdan. The salt, is what we are going to take. Apart from that, we have nothing to after. So talking about it as if we produce something that can go there. So some things are good, but we should think through thoroughly and get a better understanding. At times, we can even get experts to do the thorough understanding. Currently, the banking sector you're talking about, it is nothing seriously. If you take the foreign banks out, most of the state banks, including the private domestic banks in Ghana, are struggling with capital, solvency. And these same banks were actually capitalized, if you remember GATS. You know GATS? The GATS, Yeah, those who took it, they are almost finished because the thing has choked them. What I'm saying is that we should always think through thoroughly and let experts come in and give independent advice. Yesterday, I listened to Lord Boatin. I take my heart out for him. He said something, and when he was reading his speech, I was sitting there and clapping myself, leadership, leadership, leadership. Immediately he mentioned leadership, I fell back. I said, this is where we lack it. We need proactive leaders so that whatever we do, we put the country first for the benefit of, not me, the generation, my children and my grandchildren, not my children, my great-grandchildren. So the banking sector cleanup to a certain extent was good. But what we're experiencing now, let me even add this to you. You know,
just a final point.
Final point. Recently, the governor himself said that the non-performing loans is 25.9. Let me make this statement categorically on your platform and let everybody listen to me. Go and read a paper that the governor himself also published, quoted Dietrich and Kuntz, saying that any country whose non-performing exceed 10%, that country banking sector is fully fledged in distress.
Dr. Ernest Addison said that.
He has a book. He wrote a paper And I took the paper and traced the source to IMF publication. He quoted it when he was at the research.
But today he is governor. And
today he's a governor. He quoted 10%, and today his is 25.9%. And whenever you talk about the district banking sector, you see, that is the good thing about we researchers. I pick you and go to the source.
Yeah.
I pick him. So the banking sector is not as we see.
Right. We're going to have to cap it off here. It's been a really exciting conversation. This final message, Nana Asafo J. Bafo says, what he is saying is very true. Two players in the same industry being regulated differently. The banks even face much more stringent regulations and laws. Doc, we're grateful for your time.
Thank you.
That has been Dr. Richmond Atuahene, corporate governance and banking consultant, and he's author and publisher of the book, Finance of International Trade. Now stay with us. The Ghana Education Service has observed with great satisfaction the rejuvenated sectoral support for education in deprived areas benefiting from the Communities of Excellence program. Solomon Akurgu Azubela, the District Education Director of the Afram Plains North area, noted the positive change in the attitudes of parents and community members towards education was attributable to the Jacob Foundation-funded project implemented with UNICEF's support. There's more on that, courtesy of MFA Atiamwa Eli. We'll be right back.
The Communities of Excellence program, the capacities of teachers, parents, chiefs, community members, market women, and every stakeholder in education at the selected districts are built to empower and equip them to promote teaching and learning in their respective communities. School children in these hard-to-reach communities, on the other hand, receive specialized interventions to enhance their literacy and numeracy abilities. The program also provides opportunities for school dropouts and children who have never had access to education to learn basic reading and writing skills, even in their mother tongue. This initiative complements decades of other strategic efforts, including awareness creation, ensuring the right age for enrollment, reading festivals, leadership and debate sessions, all aimed at improving educational outcomes.
Branches, cancer example, cancer of the lung.
A project inspection tour by program implementers and selected journalists revealed that after 2 years of the Communities of Excellence program, several communities in the Afram Plains district have started demonstrating a sense of ownership and electing themselves to drive changes that have eluded Ghana's educational system. For example, with the increasing number of school enrollments, existing school infrastructure faces more pressure, and there is a growing demand for more teachers in these areas. This development has compelled otherwise indifferent parents and stakeholders to take action and safeguard the futures of their children, particularly in an era where many government promises remain unfulfilled. Beyond enrolling their children in school, parents have availed themselves for training and awareness sessions facilitated by the Ghana Education Service with UNICEF support funded by the Jacobs Foundation. These trainings aim to help parents and community members better understand their roles and responsibilities towards their children's educational development and the importance of fulfilling these tasks.
ye dia bra wo se de be ye wo mani beka na wo matimi ahwe ye ma na boa ye ni ntimi fato me ho so me nante community ni nyina me ko me je mo ale kakra ma je nam ma ko ntini je ne mi da bra wo mu eni tie ma wo so ba ha no ma wo mani kapa wo so yire ye ho je adwuma aboa ye
A visit to New Chiasi and surrounding hamlets along the Volta River in Kwewu-Afram Plains, for instance, highlights the lack of health officers and teachers in these communities. The lack is motivating parents to prioritize their children's education with the hope of producing their own health officers and teachers, reducing their dependence on limited government interventions.
School, idea. Tintima power my and I did be announced here. Hana, you're the teacher for by this the free chiriba. You're the nurses by this the free chiriba. Let us a community no yentimum why and bantino. Ama and you may be a day and cosy. And this is the nurse from say, you better see about one colana boy school. Now say a flam and Calflam place here, Corano. You hear teacher for Crank and for flam place for you teacher for. You hear nurses, I am for flam place for you nurses for. Like I say, a flam place crew, so no, and I knew Chayasi, Supum, na Bridjano, na Kuruna, a tumpoko, name.
At Adeba, to celebrate educational achievements and appreciate their benefactors, the School Management Committee and Parent Teachers Association of New Chiasi DA Primary and JHS handed over 50 dual desks to school authorities to accommodate the increasing student numbers. Notably, there are also ongoing construction of additional school infrastructure to augment the existing limited space. These include classrooms and libraries. Mary Siedu is a member of the New Chiasi School Management Committee. In island communities like Tokle, where teachers are scarce, the GES focal person for the Communities of Excellence program, Bismarck Anku, revealed the parents have engaged community teaching assistants trained under the Communities of Excellence program to educate their children. They have also mobilized to support these assistants with regular monthly stipends.
There's this interesting story about one school on the island, Tokle DA Primary School. There was a box placed in the chief's house, chairs hanged, and whatever you have on any day, pass there and drop it in it as in cedis, yes, cash. And they do this and they get good amount of money. They use it to support when teachers are coming for materials from the office, they are coming for meetings, then they support the teachers at least to remit their expenses.
Teacher for no I didn't into your community, no. If you who say you're more frabby, I will senior higher. Omanyanya into a so. May the Obaka University and I say Obako teachers training. But you're sure only good. And you know, no amount from the Casa say. Ansana is school will be 2 points. This is your teacher for. And you be here, Uncle Anna, Oma boy. Na yape bibi kakra nso ayede atwo mo botom nti ye no mo kan o ti ase anti ena ye we ikita teacher for bako enan a community na PTA SMC na yetia omuka.
According to the District Education Director of Kwewu-Afram Plains North, Solomon Akurugu Azubila, the Communities of Excellence program has been very beneficial to his district.
This project has brought a lot of resources to my district as far as community structures are concerned, or structures that promote education in the district concerned. Before the inception of this project, the SMC, the PTA, and the district, that's the DROC, District Education Oversight Committee, were existing by name. But since the inception of this activity, or the Community of Excellence project, a lot of training has taken place. They are empowered to know their functions, what to do to help education in the district.
Welcome back on the AM show. Now, in a bit, we'll get into the conversations on the issues that are coming out of yesterday's demonstration. But first, here's some important pieces of information you should take note of. For the first time, Dubai Property Expo is here in Ghana by HG Real Estate, located at 28 Joseph Bros Tito Avenue, Cantonment, Accra. That is opposite the Diamond Inn City Apartment. Now, HJ Real Estate Property, they are your property advisor, presenting exciting opportunities of investment in Dubai. Now, why should you invest in Dubai? One, a tax-free income, good rental income, guaranteed high return on investment, flexible payment plan for high capital appreciation, 0% property tax, tourist destination, safest in the country to invest till date. Now, the expo is coming up on the 21st and 22nd of June 2024 from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. So book now and contact them on 053 758 6262 for more information and reservations. Or you can also WhatsApp them on this line, 053 7586 262. Their website, www.hjrealestate.com. On Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, you can find them at HJ Real Estate. HJ Real Estate, your trusted partner. Now, attention all HD Plus subscribers, starting from the 13th of June 2024, SES HD Plus Ghana will provide HD channels to free-to-air TV homes at no cost. This means that all users of the multi-TV platform will have access to HD channels without paying HD Plus subscriptions. There are some key points for you to remember. One is, as of 16th of April 2024, no new HD Plus subscription or purchases will be activated or will be available. Existing HD Plus decoders will receive free-to-air channels until the 13th of June 2024. That's over. Now, subscribers with active subscriptions beyond 13th of June will be compensated. Such customers will be contacted by the HD Plus number 0242 439 872 from the 30th of April. Now, such subscribers are encouraged to call the HD Plus number 0242 439 872 from the 1st of June 2024. And from the 30th of May 2024, update your HD Plus decoder to access the new free-to-air HD channels. Support will be available from the 20th of June 2024. So kindly look out for the over-the-air software and upgrade your decoder upon release of the software. Again, users of compatible Samsung QLED and UHD integrated TV sets should know that the My HD Plus TV app and My HD Plus mobile app will not be available from the 30th of May 2024. So to redeem subscription compensation, confirm your HD Plus number, provide a valid Ghana ID and mobile money number by the 30th of April 2024. HD Plus will issue the last batch of compensation by the 20th of June, that's tomorrow, and will not be liable to make any payment if subscribers remain unreachable or do not follow up with a call center, or you can call them for follow-up on 0242 439 872 before the deadline. They thank all cherished customers for the patronage, and they are ushering in a new era of television in Ghana, ensuring that accessibility and quality entertainment go hand in hand. Remember that ends tomorrow. So if you're part of the category of people that this message is for, ensure that you're doing the needful. Now, escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel. That's the Jurapa Dubai. You've seen the rest. Now it's time to see the best. You need a break. So take a break from work. Take a break from the south. The Royal Cozy Hill Hotel, that is at Jurapa Dubai, is the best place to relax, rewind, and re-energize. It is away from the stress of the south. Now, what awaits you when you go to Jurapa Dubai? One unforgettable safari experience, amazing array of wildlife, including lions, hippopotamus, zebras, ostriches, and many others, using their spacious and well-secured game tour vehicles or quad bikes. 2, water sports such as jet skiing, boats, canoe rides, etc., and various family games to keep you and your family excited all day long. There are also great tourist attractions in the Upper West region, including the Mushroom Rock, Slave Caves, etc., that you have the opportunity to see. So escape to the south, escape to the north, escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, the Jurapa Dubai, for an unforgettable safari experience. You want to call them on 0501 694 280 or 024 88 44463 for reservations and further inquiries. Jurapa Dubai, that is the Royal Hills Hotel. Now, coming up next, we're going to delve into the conversation of various issues that came up on the demonstration. Leave our hotels alone demonstration yesterday, but that conversation is coming up in a bit. I'll be right back.
All unite to
Hundreds of them poured onto the streets wearing red and singing patriotic songs. Intermittently, the songs were changed to reflect their mood and anger. They are calling on President Akufo-Addo to immediately stop the sale of the state hotels.
This land, the hotels, what is important is that the Alodian landowners must be given equity share in this hotel. There's nothing wrong with giving 30% of the equity shares of all these hotels to the Alodian landowners. And therefore, if you are going to sell it, sit down with them, think about it. Now, what is the benefit to our people? Have you thought about it? Who is going to take over? How much is the hotel sold? What procurement processes do they follow for a sitting member of parliament and a sitting minister of state to benefit from information that is sacred for anyone to contest for procurement processes? This is a violation of ethical rules.
And we will never sit down to let this happen. Ghanaian youth, this is the time. This is the time. Don't sit back and say, and found. It is really important that we all see the importance for we to come together and fight against this oppression.
There was an unexpected guest at the protest, the Lawulano, Ni Yemo Obroni, who is the high priest of La. He intermittently poured libation during the protest. He invoked the gods to deal with persons he says are not only grabbing state properties but looting their lands.
I'm the chief priest of the land. So they are taking our property on lawful way without we Alodian masters' consent. Do you understand? So if I'm a chief priest, I have to fight for my right because I have kids coming. Do you understand me? Yeah. So we need to tell the government that any land belong to La Gadangwe, they should never dare. They should give our land to X. We don't want problem with him.
Yeah. Which land specifically are you talking about?
Chado, Trade Fair, the OTEX, Beach Pump License Office. Here. They have been sold to somebody. Pass and Garden, back here, no. What is this?
And you say the cabinet has taken the lands without your consent?
Exactly. Government collaboration with the land commission. And this kind of land commission, they are bogus so far so good. They are useless commission over there. They have been stolen all our lands.
Part of the capital city is currently on lockdown as a result of the hands of our hotels demonstration. What you can see right now are vehicles waiting in this gridlock. They cannot move because the protesters have taken over the road. On the road in front of the Labadi Beach Hotel and the La Palm Beach Hotel. As you can see, these vehicles heading to the Central Business District and other parts of the capital are unable to move. Those also moving towards 37, the Awak Sports Stadium, Bema Camp area and its environs are unable to move. No vehicle is able to move at this point. It's a gridlock and a bumper-to-bumper situation.
It was all peaceful until a scuffle broke out between the protesters and personnel of the Ghana Police Service. Police was forced to use pepper spray to disperse the agitated crowd. The protesters had tried going beyond police barricade. North-Tongue Member of Parliament Samuel Atuahene says Parliament would take a serious view of the issue. He says some of the demonstrators were injured in the process.
We asked colleagues to rush them to the hospital. I suspect they are at the 37 hospitals, but I don't have the current report on their status because I've been presenting the petition. But I'm going there right away with our colleagues, and we will not abandon them in the battlefield. We are going to check up on them, and we'll keep you updated.
So what exactly happened to them, though?
Unprovoked, tear gas, pepper spray, and a number of them collapsed, a number of them got injured. Totally unacceptable. The police have exhibited bad faith. We agreed that we will terminate at Christ the King Church. Christ the King Church. This is not Christ the King Church. So why take us by surprise and then on top of that use pepper spray, use tear gas? We cannot accept that. We will look into this. I've told the regional police commander that Parliament is going to take a strong view of this, and you'll certainly hear from us on this one.
Samuel Atuahene later presented a 15-point petition to the Deputy Chief of Staff, Emmanuel Edumwa Bosman.
We call on President Akufo-Addo to immediately stop the sale of our state hotels. 2, we take the view that state assets should not be sold, especially profitable ones. Historically, since 1966, the sale of state assets has not been in the supreme interest of Ghana, and we therefore cannot continue on that destructive trajectory. In any case, the government should not sell workers' properties without the permission and consent of workers and all Ghanaians. It is wrong, immoral, and unethical for ministers and government officials to buy state assets. President Akufo-Addo must not preside over this detestable and dangerous practice, particularly when he assured the nation that his appointees who want to make money through such transactions should rather stay in the private sector.
The Deputy Chief of Staff, Emmanuel Edumwa Bosman, received the petition and said government will study it and get back with feedback.
We want to keep in the spirit of democracy. As you know, this year is an election year. We want to do everything in a clean, peaceful, and calm manner. So I've received this petition on behalf of the President. I'll submit same, and I can assure you that it will be looked into and the appropriate measures taking place as and when it is deemed fit and proper to do so. Thank you so very much, and God bless us all.
Now, we'll be engaging 2 people who were at the forefront of this demonstration yesterday, starting with Professor Sharif Mahmood Khalid. He's an associate professor of finance. Prof, thanks for joining us this morning. How are you? If you can hear me, Prof, you have to unmute.
Okay.
Good morning. It's good to have...
Good morning. I'm unmuted now.
Right. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You were there yesterday leading the charge, clad in red. Yeah. We want to find out what next. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about your experience from the grounds yesterday. How do you describe the experience yesterday?
Well, I'll say it was a massive crowd. We didn't really expect those numbers, given it was a working day and a long weekend. We thought that everyone was going to be at work. But for me, the most exciting bit of it was workers peeping through the windows of their workplaces in solidarity, some taking videos and photos, was what was much significant. And the route of the demonstrations, as we started off, we started initially from the Labadi Beach Hotel, which has been put up for sale. And we went to the Land Commission. And for me, filing past the Land Commission was significant, right? And the administrator for lands and stools for the Greater Accra region as well was also very significant, because these are significant institutions that have linkages to whatever demonstrations we're carrying through. But the bad faith that was exhibited in all of this was that we couldn't get to the Christ the King Church. But, sweetie, you have to know that in time past, as way back as 2016, the Flagstaff House, people could demonstrate as close as Flagstaff House and even throw stones into it. What has changed in our democracy?
I mean, you can argue that it's for security concerns. You cannot go and pelt the Flagstaff House.
In 2016, security concerns were not there. For me, I'm looking at it from a democratic lens. Right, the White House, number 10. You have demonstrated as much as close to these edifices as much as possible. So what has changed in our democracy? What is so security significant of the Flagstaff House that was not in 2016?
Right. So you're saying that you didn't get to Christ the King. This morning I read, I think, in a Daily Guide newspaper that you were trying to move past the agreed destination for you to host the demonstration.
No,
so give me some clarity on that. Did you get to Christ the King, or you were close to Christ the King, or you didn't get anywhere near Christ the King at all?
We didn't get anywhere near Christ the King, which was the designated endpoint for the demonstration. And that was bad faith on the side of the police.
Have you heard from those persons who were taken to the hospital because of the tear gas?
They're responding to treatment, and we are offering our solidarity with them. This morning, leadership of the demonstration visited some of them, and they are responding quite well to treatment. And again, that was very needless.
Okay.
Right? Unprovoked, you throw tear gas. Because I was at the forefront of the demonstration, and what shook me in all of this was that we got to a point where the designated point that we had agreed on to reach was not allowed. So definitely you would realize that the crowd will be agitated if this was not permissible. But in such civil demonstrations, the first step to take is to try to solve the problem amicably, but unprovoked. The unprovoked crowd. And that to me was so unnecessary.
Right. I'll come back to you in a bit about way forward. I mean, the Deputy Chief of Staff has received your 15-point petition. We'll get to that in a bit. But Dr. Ishmael Dodu from the Gadangbe Alliance also joins us now. Doc, it's good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, many people argue that this is about SNIT hotels, but what is the interest of Gadangbe Alliance in all of this? I want to appreciate what the work you're doing over there. So give me a sense of your thoughts.
Thank you very much. I would say thank you for giving me this opportunity to share a bit of light from the Gadangbe Alliance for Change and how it relates to the demonstration that we had yesterday against the hotels. The first thing to say is that what is happening in terms of the way they've treated the sales of the hotel is very symptomatic of how they are treating the larger Gadangbe community. We do have a stake in the sales of the hotel. We believe that the allodial owners of the lands on which the hotels are sited needed to be comprehensively consulted in the decision that they are making for the hotel, because it will affect the livelihoods of the Gadangbe people that are even hired who are working there. It will also affect, their stake in terms of whether or not there could be a renegotiation of certain equities that they need to have. Remember that at the time these hotels were sited, the decisions were on the basis of allowing, some kind of a social gesture, because it is pensioners whose monies are going to be used. And so we see it as a strategic decision in order to allow these hotels to be sited there. And we also have the perception that once these hotels are here, then we'll have an opportunity to create jobs and so on for our people. None of these expectations have been met. And consistently, we have seen a situation where the allodial owners of the land on which the Republic is sited, in terms of the Accra, that have been consistently sidelining all decisions that affect, their assets that they own. And to the extent that it almost feels like there has been a treatment of disdain for all the good gestures that the Gadangbe community have given towards the establishment of the Greater Accra and the Republic. And so this is why we are very much engaged in this, to send a very strong signal that we are no longer tolerating these things. We have seen that the Ghana community have been totally left behind. They are faced with very serious urban poverty situation. And urban poverty, in the scheme of things, is the most extreme form of poverty that anyone can face. As I articulated earlier, that when you have a group of people who are in this situation where they see wealth, they see riches all around them, but they continue to live in abject poverty, you are creating some kind of mental instability to them. And when they are children, you are causing a lot of mental stress on them.
Right.
And the other thing is also that they have not able to access these opportunities. Look at the schools that the Ghana community people are attending. Look at the infrastructure of the schools. Some of them don't even have toilets. They don't have urinal places, not good places, safe places for young girls. So young girls, when they are, in their period, they don't even go to school for a number of days. And then you have they don't have the school books, the textbooks, and the type of teacher to student ratio is all not well thought through. The infrastructure is very dilapidated. I mean, when you have certain environments, what kind of people are you going to grow? What kind of people are you going to grow?
Right.
And so our education needs to be fixed. The health centers, our women are not able to access some of these health centers simply because of the language barrier. There are instances where women have lost their lives if they are pregnant because there's a communication situation between the nurse and the woman who speaks only Ghana, can't speak English. So there are a lot of challenges. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to interject. I understand what you're saying, but are you saying that the lands are Gadangbe lands, like the lands where these SNIT hotels, I mean, Labadi, La Palm Royal, belong to the Gadangbe community, and hence they should have consulted you before selling them, or exactly, like, be as specific as possible, how the Gadangbe Alliance for Change, what pivotal role or interest do you have in the sale of these SNIT hotels?
The Gadangbe Alliance for Change is a social movement that is promoting or advocating social development across the Gadangbe state. So we are not just looking at Gamashi, we are looking at the entire Gadangbe all the way to Ngo Pram. Now, our stake in this is because these hotels is a social development entity, which needs to translate it to some type of wealth access, economic access to our Gadangbe people. And their stake in this is very critical because it's the land on which these hotels are sited. And as the allodial owners of the land have a serious stake in terms of deciding how these hotels are going to exchange hands.
But these are still
to even negotiate their stake in it. Over time, they have raised the issue that this hotel, they need to have equity share in it. And they need to also have some representation in terms of the workers that have to be Gadangbe people. And all these things have not been listened to. And SNIT have not even had the opportunity, they've not expressed that, for lack of a better word, a courtesy, to meet the local owners of the land, to inform them of this new gesture that is happening, of exchange of sales. Now, what is very critical for us also as the land for change, we are citizens, and we want good governance. We believe that the way this issue has been handled has demonstrated that there's a very serious weakness in the corporate governance regime of the state overall. The procurement process had serious ethical challenges, and all of these were not raised or addressed by the corporate governance entity within the SNIT board. And that speaks largely to the type of politics or the types of good governance that we want for the country. And I believe that all these things are fundamental to even decisions around how to create development imperatives for the people of the Gadangbe community. And this is our concern.
Okay. Please hold for me. I'll come back to you. Now, Professor Sharif, the Deputy Chief of Staff has received your 15-point petition. What next? Were you giving some timelines on when they'll respond to you?
Sweetie, but as you can see, as a symbolic gesture, I'm in amber mode this morning. I was in red yesterday. So what it signifies is that We were on red alert yesterday. We're all charged. Today, we are on amber mode, still waiting to get response. If we don't, we'll get back to the streets. And this time around, if we're doing it, we're inviting people such as the former Chief Justice, who picketed around in when the domestic debt exchange program were affecting pension pots and the likes of that. Because you look at it, sweetie, the whole idea is not about who is buying this. It's about the process and the intent behind it. Right? We are in a country where we are endemic with pension poverty. And when I talk about pension poverty, I am speaking to persons who retire with practically nothing to go home to after 30, 40 years of service. Right? So this is the blood, sweat, and tears of pensioners. That average teacher who takes home 2,000 cedis and making a contribution to the national pension pot retires and is struggling to even use the lump sum to roof a house. Right, or a home, or something he or she can call property. This is what we are talking about. So if such, it's going to happen. What are the modalities that are put in place? What's the justification for the sale of this? If someone says, okay, I'm a private man, right, I'm a member of cabinet, and I want to buy this to promote tourism, that is very lean, right? If you really indeed want to promote tourism, go out there and bring in big franchises such as the Crown Plaza, the Grand Hyatt, the Hiltons, and the likes of that. If you think you can go into the high market price and purchase that in the name of the promotion of tourism. But you'd realize that Labadi Beach Hotel has a very interesting trajectory. Go there and look at the historical context of their albums. The queens, the princesses, high dignified, high flying delegations that have visited Ghana in time past. This has been their abode. So this has even personal sentiment and attachment to our national history. So why sell it off or pawn it off to a crony of a government on a work and pay basis, as you would see? This is a giveaway. So all what we're saying is that, can we look at the books of Rock City? Right. As you'd see, from GRA records, they were posting losses. So in terms of losses, were they underclaring profits in order not to, or to evade some taxes to the state, or indeed they were having losses? I think this even calls for some forensic accounting into their activities. Let's talk about Labadi Beach Hotel. What profits has it posted in the last couple of years? So it's been posting profits, and if it's doing this, why do you have to sell it off?
Okay.
In any case, in solidarity to all of this, I had breakfast in the hotel as part of my contribution to the ongoing development and progress of the hotel. And when I sat in the breakfast area of the restaurant, I saw, passers-by come around to have breakfast. I saw, NGOs, civil society, UN badges flying around the breakfast table, and what it tells you is that this is a business that is still a going concern.
Okay.
Why sell it to a crony?
Prof, talk to me about the structure of this organization or the group that's put into leading the charge for this hands-off our hotels. I believe you are part of them. Is this a collaboration between the Minority Caucus, Arise Ghana, Labour, and just formed together to do this, mount pressure on the government to halt the sale? Or is this an organized group that will continue to take actionable steps till you get the results that you want? And if so, what are the next actionable steps that you plan to take?
No, you would see that this is a civil action we are taking, right? So we're not going to be rowdy about it. We follow due process. This is just the first step. The many steps that culminated in this began with an expose by the Honorable Samuel Okudzato Ablakwa of the Southern constituency, which he did an elaborate job on it, giving all documentations that backs these claims. So there's evidence out there. Then we embarked on this demonstration. Well, we presented a petition, so we're going to wait a couple of days. And by a couple of days, I'm referring to a reasonable time frame. And
what's reasonable to you? A week, 2 weeks? What's reasonable?
No, I wouldn't give a definite answer, but I'll just say a reasonable time frame. Okay. Without that, then we can meet again and consult and take action. But I'll tell you that this is not just a minority decision, or for that matter, a minority trying to make a government unpopular or going after a particular individual. The TUC, as you will see, was at the front line of this. Arise Ghana was at the front line of this.
Right.
So what it tells you is that this is a coalition of civil society organizations. Even in the run-up to this, you saw the CSO Society in Ghana, led by CDD, present a press conference on this. So what it tells you is that it's a national affair, right? It is not an NDC affair. That the NDC as minority is part of it. And I would have been very elated if I'd seen some majority MPs join us in this fight for justice,
so
and to represent the voice of the voiceless.
Right. So this is a collaboration between all these groups involved, but is it a one-time thing that you just mobilize to this effect, or is there an actual structure, some sort of organizational structure that is leading the fight against the sale of these hotels? That's what I want clarity on. Is this a one-time collaboration effort?
Hello, Siri, I seem to have lost you.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm back.
So as I said, it is a progressive fight
right.
until we get the yielded results.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Sharif Mahmood Khalid. And so hopefully I'll see you in green then, since your color, the colors that you're dressing now determine the mood you're in. But let me go back to Dr. Ishmael Dodu. Doc, what are the next actionable steps? Are they aligned with what Professor Sharif is saying?
True that there's a proper evaluation of the intended purposes for the sale of the hotel. In addition to that, one of the things that we are asking for is that there must be a comprehensive stakeholder consultation around whether or not it's the right thing to do. The allodial owners of the land wants to be very much involved in that decision making. The allodial owners of the land, we are also looking as key stakeholders to look at the equities that are contained within these hotels and how that equity will have to be rationalized and be given back to them, and what form that needs to be determined. We want the workers who are there also to be properly involved, bring them along. This is a serious change management process, and everybody needs to be involved. To speak to a larger point, that the way these hotels are treated, the sale of the hotels are treated vis-a-vis the people, the land people, it speaks to the bigger issue of how the entire Ghana state have been treated. Look at the lands that belong to other states like Osu, Nungwa and so on, that have been arrogated by political government entities and political entities. These lands were intended, for example, the trade fair, for example, was intended for a particular purpose to serve a global good for the African region and not just for Ghana. Now it is being converted into some type of private entity. Nobody understands, nobody knows, the students are not aware. So these are very, very important issues that the Ghana people are faced with, and we are very vexed about these issues, and we really want a change, and we are calling for that change. And that change is a social movement which will never stop until we see what we want to see for the Ghana people. Okay. And it's the right thing to do because it speaks to development. And it's the right thing to do because it also shows a blueprint of how you can lift people out of poverty when you are very deliberate about specific actions relating to their schools, their education, their health, and the property rate, the property taxes, royalties that need to be given to them, and they establish an entity that can help them to really think about their development imperatives and underwrite those with the money that they get. I think that it will serve as a blueprint for how even other regions need to be organized based on their resources and making sure that the people are getting it. It's about social justice. Right. And Ghana can never achieve sustainable development goals, even if we claim to accelerate it. We set inequalities happening where 3.5 million population are in constant abject poverty, which is about probably 12% of the
All right.
Very, 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 very key.
Doc, we have to go, but just one last follow-up question. I've gone through the 15 points, and I mean, when you talk about the procurement processes and it's a social issue, they're all embedded in here. But specifically to your demand about consultation, because Gadangbe, I mean, these are lands that belong to the people of the Gadangbe. It's not there. So shall we expect a different sort of submission of a petition, or how do you intend to, pass these demands to the president?
In fact, the La people themselves have written a communique and a press release around this issue. Right. That extensive consultation needs to be included. And I would advise government to take these 15 points very seriously and also include the transparent consultations with all key stakeholders to serve as a good example of how we treat some of these state properties that represent strategic investments for entities such as SNEIT.
All right, thank you. Dr. Ishmael Amano-Doju with the Gadangbe Alliance for Change. So that's that. Some details and updates on yesterday's demonstration, hands-off hotels demonstrations. But there's still more coming up on the AM show. I'll be right back.
Tolu SHS actually gave WA SHS a good run for their money. And unfortunately, they couldn't make it to the nationals. But their impressive performance is what has been the talk of town. But I want to find out from you as students, how do you feel?
Actually kept in our best, we put in our best, just that our best was not enough. And though we've been able to showcase the whole world how we prepared adequately, it happened that we met even tougher people. So next time we'll prepare well. And the reason for our performance, though we are not as accelerated as we would have wanted to be, but our dining hall got bent, so we can say we're not eating proper food. Yes. And just 2 days ago, the very community where our school is located, there was a conflict between two communities. So we couldn't even go out. Even as we were coming, we were a little bit scared. We had to be praying that God should bring us and send us back safely.
The conflict that is happening in your area, how is that impacting your academic activities?
Okay, we have not been going to class because of the Eid break actually, but the few of us who were left in school to prepare for the quiz were still going to class. But when the conflict started, we were confined in our hostels. You can't go to class. And we have few, should I say, laptops where we study from. We can't take them to the dormitory since we don't have electric cables there to plug and use them. And so all of those things kept us from our resources. We're not learning for about 3 days. We're just doing internal studies. All of these things affected us. We can say our step was not going through that. And so if we've been able to give them 36 to 39, 34 to 39, we are proud of ourselves. We know that, yes. In terms of the conflicts, we are appealing to the entire Ghana that they should not neglect deprived communities. Such communities actually need the police service and other security service around. If the security service were around when the conflict started, at least they could have done something. But in their absence, they killed about 3 people. So we ourselves were even afraid. If you see a gun anywhere, what will you do? And you have a quiz to come. Everything was so messed up. But we thank God for how far we've come. And we know we'll prepare and come better next year. We never do.
Let me also find out from you, in terms of the preparations and how the conflict is affecting you.
Just as she rightly mentioned, I mean, you find yourself in an environment where there is conflict. You don't even know if, who is going to be the next victim. So we had to confine our students. There was little to nothing we could do. Even we had commuters, those that were staying around campus, even running into our own campus to seek shelter. So if you have outsiders in your school, their presence alone could even frighten your students. So we just have to make do with the little we could do, and this is just the best we could do. But hopefully, they say he who fights, lives to fight another day. So we'll go back to the drawing board and hopefully we can do better next time.
Okay. All right. So that's a teacher from last year, Tolu SHS, also known as Saint Ignatius of Loyola SHS. And they tell me they actually gave an impressive performance against WA SHS. They tell me a little of infrastructure-wise deficit and also the conflicts that is happening in the area is what is currently. They can attribute some of these factors to their performance of not qualifying to the national tournament. But hopefully next year, if they should come back and everything is resolved, you should expect a better performance from them.
Welcome back. This is the final belt of conversations this morning, and it's Have Your Say. We haven't done that in a bit. Regular Kojos and Ames, call me now and let's talk about all the issues that we've discussed this morning. The call lines on your phones is on your screen right now, 0302-211-691. Call me and let's get talking. But there are some comments on our Facebook this morning, and I want to read some of them because they're all part of the show. Starting from here this morning, we just talked about the hands-off demonstration, and we have some comments coming in on our Facebook page. If you just give me a moment, it will load. But I do want to commend all the women and men who went out yesterday to do it for God and country. Some of us can only do it from here in the studio because of work and all that. And I mean, the risk that's, you stand to put yourself in, the danger that you could put yourself in when you go out there to demonstrate and do these things. So it takes bravery and courage. So yeah, hats off to everyone who was out there yesterday to speak up for the rest of the country and say that we need proper procurement processes. We need some transparency in these dealings because these are our monies. I pay SNET, you pay SNET. And so, anyway, so more pressure on the nation wreckers and thieves in government. This is from Omar. And these are just some comments coming in from our Facebook based on the conversation we just had on the hands-off demo. But you can also call us and send your thoughts through 030-221-1691. The call lines are on your screens, so you can call us. And today's Ametefe's birthday. She said happy birthday to me. She just wished herself on Facebook. So happy birthday to you, Ametefe. I'm wishing you many, many of God's grace and mercies. But I don't know what you think about the silence of the vice president, or should I say the president, on all these issues going on so far. Where are they? Where's the dancing man? Fasti and Mami. This morning, Benjamin was saying that I'm upset, but I'm not upset. I'm surprised that there are serious things going on in this country, and our politicians think that the best way to, campaign is to go to our homes and wash for us, is to be seen hugging regular citizens. That doesn't, if that's really what we are voting for, then it also tells a lot about we the citizens and what we are enabling our politicians to do for us. I do not want to say that our leaders are a reflection of who we are as a people, but most of the time, you cannot help but think that maybe we made them so. We turned them into people who think that they can just dance and tell us whatever they think we want to hear so that they can win power for the next 4 years. Dr. Adi was saying, Captain Adi was saying, the chairperson of NCC, the politicians think in 4 years. And anyway, those are just my quick thoughts. And if no calls are coming in, we will have to wrap up the AM show this morning. We're back on your screens tomorrow at 6 a.m. on the dot. Myself, Sweetie Abochi, and Benjamin Akakpo will be here. But coming up next is Joy News Desk. You want to stay for that. From now, it's bye-bye.